Welcome back to the channel, everyone. Davey Deathray here. How y'all doing on this lovely Friday night? I feel like it's been a while. It's been a little bit of an odd week for me. We'll get into all of that, but I hope you guys have been enjoying a little bit of an uptick in content over here as of late. Last Friday we had Vincent DeSanti on to celebrate 40 years of Friday the 13th, Part 5, A New Beginning. That was an absolute blast having that watch party. And this Monday we had the second live episode of Hit the Bricks with over on the Drum Dums channel with Lee, of course, from Drum Dums, and Nick from the Lost River Drive-In. That's been a whole bunch of fun, doing that with those guys. So I hope you guys have been digging that as well. That second episode did really, really well. So I am super pumped on that. And, I think I am realizing that the little ticker, I accidentally did the channel member one. Here you go. I did the wrong one. So there we go. This will be a lot easier. There we are. Okay. There's an appropriate little ticker there at the bottom for everyone. So yeah, guys, I hope you're doing well. Let me know how the week has been for you. We are here to talk our favorite horror movie sequels. So best horror sequels. So really, man, a lot of times we have a topic that's like, hey, stay on topic, stay on topic. This one's pretty wide open. Like, we can have a pretty broad conversation here. So I'm interested in knowing, I'm sure there are some horror sequels that I have not yet seen because I have a lot of blind spots out there. And then, I'm interested to see which horror sequels are your guys' favorites. And of course, we'll get into mine and everything like that. I thought this would just be like a fun, it's not too late for me. It's just past 7 over here, out here in Arizona. But I know on the East Coast, it's 10 o'clock. So kind of a late night hangout here with you guys. So I want to say what's up to everybody in the chat. And then, if you've got, I guess to make this easier, I don't know. We'll find a way. I'll dig through all the chats. I'm not worried about not being able to recognize when you guys are talking about something that's on topic since it's so broad. So I'm just going to say what's up to everybody, and then we will get cooking. King Matthew III popped in early and says Child's Play 2 and Scream 2 scared the heck out of me as a kid, along with Jaws 2. I was afraid to go into the ocean after watching Jaws 2. Child's Play 2 was going to be one of those that I brought up later on this evening, but we can just sort of talk about these as we go. Or maybe should I say hello to everybody first? I'll star these. How about when you guys are mentioning horror movie sequels, I'll star them. We'll go back to those. I'll just say what's up to everybody really quick. Avery says I just watched Halloween 2, so this is sort of perfect. And Avery, is this your first time jumping into the chat? If so, welcome. Hope you're still hanging out. I will star that as well. What's happening, Antonis? How are you doing? We got Roger Radu in the chat. What's happening? We got Trisha McMasters, our amazing channel member, Patreon member, and Death Squad mod. How are you doing, Trisha? What are your favorite horror movie sequels? Antonis is throwing out there Insidious Chapter 2. What's happening, Antonis? I guess I already said that. And then he's bringing up some Final Destination. Okay, cool. That's very apropos. So we will get to all of those. What's happening, Ashton? How are you doing, man? Hope the week has treated you well here so far. We got Lamontre Gillard in the chat. What's happening, Lamontre? Always a pleasure to see you, especially because you really jump on those and say what's up. And then a lot of times I'm like, oh man, I must have missed Lamontre, but hopefully you're kicking it with us and able to hang out there. Oh, Avery is talking about one of the options in the poll that is there in the chat. So yeah, guys, I just was curious to know which movie should I watch for the first time after tonight's stream. I put out 4 movies that I've never seen before. Brain Scan from 1994, Curtains from 1983, Demons 2 from 1987. I've seen the first Demons. I really dig that one. And then Black Roses from 1988. That is, threw that out there for Bill from the Ever Scathed. That's a movie he's been singing the praises of, and I'll probably watch that at some point anyways. But right now, Brain Scan is killing it in the poll with 15 votes. It has 53% of the votes. So yeah, guys, go ahead and jump into that poll if you're hanging out here, and also hit that like button if you haven't already. Subscribe if you haven't already. If you're watching after the fact, thank you so much. Leave a comment and let me know what your favorite horror movie sequels are. Yeah, all that fun stuff. Share the channel with somebody who you think would dig this kind of content. All that good stuff. So yeah, Avery says curtains, but make sure it's a newer release. I'll probably be watching the one that's on Shudder, so I don't know which version that is. Hopefully it's not a crappy transfer. We got Big Rod in the house, one of our great channel members. What's happening, Big Rod? Hope you are doing well, my guy. We've got Prince jumping in as well. What's happening? Oh, I'm cutesy and I'm handsome, man. Iron Davy. All right. I don't know. Is that like an Iron Man thing, or is that just because I don't know. I wonder what that's. I mean, I do take my vitamins, so maybe you're saying that I have plenty of iron in my diet. I don't know. We got Melanie, one of our great channel members as well, from Screen Queen Reviews. Guys, go ahead and check out Melanie's channel if you haven't already. She is up and coming and putting out a lot of content. So if you want that slow drip of videos every day or two or whatever, you gotta jump over there to Screen Queen Reviews. Check out Melanie's channel. We got Dean Renner in the house, one of our great channel members. What's happening, Dean? You're not. I didn't start until like 10 after the hour, Dean. So I doubt you were late. I doubt it. We got Joel from Dark Room Reviews. Joel has a channel as well. If you are looking for more content, check out Dark Room Reviews. Happy Friday to you, Joel. Hope you are doing well, my guy. Great to see you as always. Let's see who else we've got in here. Adrian James. What's happening, Adrian? So good to see you. And K-Dabs. Yo, right back at you, K-Dabs. Now, I think you had commented on one of my recent streams, but is this your first time in the chat? If so, welcome. You are kicking it with the Death Squad. Hope you are doing well. We got Dominic St. Clair. What's happening, Dominic? Oh, I could so go for some popcorn right about now. Trisha's talking a little Scream 2. I will go ahead and star that chat for later. Let's see here. Denise Wheat, one of our great channel members as well. What's happening, Denise? Hope you are doing well. Great to see you. Hope you've had a great week as well. And we got Gory Tiger. What's happening, Gory? Always fun having Gory jump up in the chat. Cool. I think I am pretty much caught up with everybody. Sorry, guys. I'm sipping on a little strawberry lemonade fizzy water. So if I burp, I apologize. It's a good thing there's no smell-o-vision because I just had some pizza before the stream, so it's a good thing that there's none of that going on. Yeah, K-Dab says, I believe it is my first time, indeed my first time catching a live. Glad to be here. Yeah, everybody make K-Dabs feel welcome. We have an awesome community here, so if you enjoy the experience and you enjoy the content, then make sure to hit that subscribe if you haven't yet. And yeah, plenty more where this is coming from. Friday night is the pizza night. You know what I mean, Dominic? It just is. In my family growing up, my mom always, well, if we had a whole bunch of stuff going on, because there's 5 kids in my family, I'm the youngest out of 5. If there was a whole bunch going on, we might get pizza out, but usually my mom would do like homemade pizza on Friday nights, and we'd watch a movie and all that stuff. Really, really very nostalgic getting into the Friday pizza nights. Prince, I don't know if I'll bring back the Mohawk. I might be a little too old for the Mohawk. We will see. We will see. Cool. Looks like we are all caught up with the chat. So yeah, guys, we got 20 people hanging out here. 21 people. Oh my gosh, it just keeps on growing. So yeah, the week has just been kind of odd. I know for some of you new people, you're like, what's with this guy? Why is he talking about his actual real life? I try to let you guys in as much as possible. Without like oversharing or whatever. But, I've recently gotten out of a long-term relationship, and, there's been some good days and some bad days, and just still dealing with some, loose ends, I guess. So this week was a bit of an odd one. So I was like, I know I can always count on the people in the community to lift me up and to make me feel better. So I was like, let's jump in here, talk about our favorite horror movie sequels. I think that would be really fun. There's a whole bunch of them that are really great. I mean, I'm the kind of person that usually digs the first movie in the franchise the most. That's not always the case. But even if it's not my favorite in the franchise, there are a whole bunch of great horror movie sequels out there. So I'm curious to know what you guys, which horror movie sequels are your favorites. And we'll get into those starred chats here pretty soon. Better have been pineapple, pepperoni, or I'll be. It was like pepperoni, ham, sausage. Maybe bacon was on there too. But the other day I did have a ham pine slice. I do like ham pine. I also like pepperoni pineapple as well, especially pepperoni pineapple with jalapeno on there. That's a really good combo as well. Trisha says, we like hearing real life. Yeah, sometimes like with how it's been lately, Trisha, it's like, a couple weeks ago I was feeling great. And then every now and then it's just like, you just have one of those days where you're like, I am like paralyzed with whatever kind of anxiety this whole thing is making me feel. And then when you have to like, either if you have to like, deal with that person or, bring that stuff up for whatever reason, it can be a little odd. So I knew you guys would be able to lift me out of it though. Antonis, I have not watched the Final Destination 6 trailer. I like the teaser, and I don't think that I want anything else spoiled. So I think I'm just going to wait until the film comes out in May and then, take it all in at that point. So you guys know how I feel about trailers. I'm kind of like, if the first trailer gets me to the point where I want to watch the movie, I don't see a point in watching the second trailer. To me, it's just going to sort of deflate the way I feel or spoil some stuff. Whether it's a comedy movie, they spoil too many jokes. If it's a horror movie, they spoil kills. So I just try to stay away from that stuff. So yeah, I'll probably avoid that. I haven't watched any reactions or anything. I've just seen, a few seconds of that whole like bar scene thing that you can't avoid if you're scrolling through Twitter, really. And Ashton he'll let me off the hook this time on my pizza decision. All right. Medley Man said, welcome Medley Man, by the way, says just finished the Dollars trilogy, and I'm surprised to say for a few dollars more is the best one. I don't think I've ever seen any of those old spaghetti westerns with Clint Eastwood. I don't think I have. Let's see here, saving some more there. Let's see, what else do we got? Oh, Trisha's, I have 3 kids with mine, and he just announced he and his wife are having a baby. Real life is wild stuff. It certainly is. So I think I've sort of allowed real life to keep me a bit more away from the channel than I've wanted it to. And I need to, I think I'm realizing that I need to rededicate myself to spending more time here on the channel with you guys, and of course doing pre-recorded vids and all that stuff. I think that'll help get the baddies out, so to speak. Ooh, Melanie asked, Davey, are you going to watch The Woman in the Yard? It looks really good. So I'm very interested to check that one out because the trailer looks really good. I love a good kind of like folklore isolation movie, and it looks like it might even have some of those slow burn qualities that I really enjoy as well. So I'm very intrigued by, I saw the trailer, I think I saw the trailer with Hard Eyes, and then it was in front of the monkey, if I'm not mistaken. And yeah, looks pretty good. Looks pretty good. Are you going to watch it, Melanie? Let me know. Dean says, I will say I checked out the FD6 trailer and it was done well. I didn't feel like it spoiled. Okay. Did a one and done watch and that's all I needed. It actually looks really good. Cool. Heck yeah. Leanna Bevy Rage is in the house, one of our great channel members, and Death Squad Mod says, I would make a strong case for Black Roses. It's so much fun. Yeah, I got to see that no matter what. I'm going to watch it. I'm just curious to know what you guys want me to watch tonight. And Brain Scan with 22 votes is at 64%. So that one is killing it right now. Killing it. Welcome to the chat. Let's see here. No one watch Woman in the Yard, Davey. Don't. Depressing isn't even the word. But was it good? Trisha, was it good? That's all I care about. I mean, if it's depressing, that's one thing. But as long as it's good, I can watch a depressing movie. Just see The Mist for that one. Yeah. Brain Scan is awesome, says Dean. Okay, cool. All right, guys, I'm going to go into some of your starred chats. So, let me know if there are any horror sequels you guys want to talk about. Of course, I feel like we're always talking about like the big three. So those get plenty of play. But to jump into King Matthew the Third's chat from earlier, he says Child's Play 3 and Scream 2 scared the heck out of me as a kid, along with Jaws 2. So I'm going to go reverse. Jaws 2, I think it's a pretty damn good sequel. I mean, people say it's sort of like a Friday the 13th. It's kind of like the slasher movie of the franchise. I mean, the first movie is kind of like a slasher. It's got those adventure elements, and it's got thrills and drama and comedy and all that kind of stuff too. But I quite enjoy Jaws 2. I mean, you got John Williams coming back to do the music. I think Jeannot Swark did a really good job capturing that Steven Spielberg kind of look and feel. It feels like the first movie. And of course, being able to bring in some actors from the first movie as well. I mean, even though it's well documented that Roy Scheider did not want to participate in that film, I think that his performance is pretty rock star quality in that film as well. And I kind of enjoy the cruise culture, like the sailing cruise culture elements of the film. The shark is a step down from the first movie, but not that big of a step down. It's still pretty fun. I would say that, that movie, there's a little bit of a lull there in the film, as you go on. Maybe the more I watch it, the more I'm like, okay, this movie could be a little more exciting, kind of like the original Halloween 2. It's got those moments, those scenes where you're just sort of like, okay, what's happening here? This is just, just prodding along and not really moving too quick or anything like that. But I do very much enjoy Jaws 2. I usually watch it. I don't know if maybe lately it's been once a year, but probably not a once a year watch for me. Scream 2, I really enjoy Scream 2 quite a bit. I mean, I think you can make the argument that Sydney's a little sidelined. It's even a bit more of an ensemble film than the first one, I would say. I really dig the opening. I think the opening's really good, really solid. I enjoy a lot of the performances. I think what's his face? Gosh, why can't I think of anything right now? The kid from Stand By Me, Jerry O'Connell. I really dig his performance in there. I think he, they're trying to trick you by making you think that he could be the killer, and apparently in the original script he was. But they do a good job playing with that one, and I really love that like car chase scene. Where the two police officers that are protecting Sydney, get offed by Ghostface very, very quickly, and then there's that tense after the car wreck, like climb over Ghostface scene, which is wild. Really gets the heart beating every time I watch it, and Neve Campbell looks really, really good in that movie as well. So dig that one quite a bit. Child's Play 2, that's a really fun sequel. I still enjoy the first Child's Play more. I don't know what it is about first movies in the franchise. As silly as the entire plot to the Child's Play franchise can be, I think that the first movie is about as grounded as you can get. But I do enjoy that in the sequel, Chucky's personality comes out a lot more. He's got like way more catchphrases and fun stuff like that. There's a couple really fun kills. Really dig the opening as well. That's a really great opening act of that film. And I know that Child's Play isn't everyone's cup of tea, but I really enjoy the first two quite a bit, I would say. And the others, I'm sort of lukewarm on the other films in the franchise, but really enjoy those first two. I'm gonna have a little sip of water here. I might even jump back over to you guys and see what's up here. Looks like we've got some more sequel talk here. And we've got some new people in the chat, or at least one. Let's see here. We got John Doe Juggalo. What's happening, Jeff? Always great to see you, man. Hope you had a really, really good week and that you've got some fun plans for the weekend. We got Katie Beganix in the chat. What's happening, Katie? Hope you are doing well. Hope the weekend is treating you awesomely so far. Trisha, in regards to The Woman in the Yard, says it's Blumhouse. I didn't like it, but who knows? You may. Oh no. So does it do the Blumhousey thing where the trailer looks really good and then the movie is just sort of meh? That seems to be the case quite a bit with Blumhouse, huh? Everyone loves the trailers. They're not really super pumped on the movies once all is said and done. I still think Blumhouse, I haven't seen every Blumhouse movie. I still think, they're about 50-50 for me, maybe a little bit more. I do really like the Halloween trilogy that they did. I know, people have mixed feelings about those, but I do enjoy those films quite a bit. Let's see here. Medley Man says every single Friday the 13th sequel is better than part 1 besides part 8. Is that a hot take, guys? Let me know in the chat if you think that's a hot take from Medley Man. Medley Man's usually got some pretty good hot takes. I think that the original is better than a few more of the sequels. But yeah, I definitely think that part 1 is better than Jason Takes Manhattan. Those later sequels where they just sort of get the gore is kind of neutered from them. I really enjoy a lot of aspects about part 7, The New Blood. It was one of my favorites, maybe my favorite when I was like a little kid, because I really enjoyed the telekinesis gift that Tina has. I think that's a lot of fun. And I love the way Jason looks in The New Blood. But I think when I did my Friday the 13th ranking, I think the first movie cracked my top 5. Maybe it was number 6, but I think it cracked the top 5. There's something about it that the more I watch it, Medley Man, the more I enjoy it. So, but it's not a sequel, so I'll just stop talking about the original Friday the 13th. In fact, guys, if you follow Facci's Cinema, our guy Matt Facci over there, he's been doing a series called The Good, the Bad, the Judgment, where he does like a re-review of a movie and he brings on a guest. I will be reviewing the original Friday the 13th with Matt on his channel. I think it's going to be the first week of May. So we have some time. I'll let you guys know as we get closer to that date. But I'm really looking forward to hopping on a live with Matt and talking some original Friday the 13th, 1980. That'll be fun. Antonis says Jaws 2 is his favorite in the franchise. All right. Thoughts on Sinister 2? Did anyone like it better than the first one? Melanie, I never saw Sinister 2. I really like the first one. So I guess, guys, if I should watch the sequel, let me know, and I will check it out. Medley Man says Maniac Cop 2 was better than 1. I don't think I've seen that sequel either, Medley Man. I need to check that one out. Roger says I think that's Andy, says I like the sequels that come with 3D. Those can be fun. I mean, I really do like Friday the 13th Part 3. I don't normally watch it in 3D, but Richard Brooker is a total beast in that movie, and there's plenty of fun to be had for sure. Ooh, Dominic's got a little bit of a hot take here. Says Jason Goes to Hell is my favorite because of the body hopping and seeing Jason in a vulnerable state where he has to go inside his relatives so he can be reborn. There's a lot about Jason Goes to Hell that I really do enjoy. The thing that I can't stand about that movie is the soundtrack. There's like this, I don't know what it is. It's that synthesizer that they use. It just sounds really corny, really of its time, that like mid to late 90s. Just, I don't know. There's something about the music in that movie that really rubs me the wrong way, but I love the effects. I do like the chances that are taken in Jason Goes to Hell. Not every single thing works for me, but you guys know how I feel about when sequels are different and unique and just stand out from the pack. So I have plenty of fun with Jason Goes to Hell. It's definitely in the back part of my ranking, but I think there's plenty of fun to be had for sure. Avery says, the first time I watched Scream 2, I guessed the killers, especially Mickey was easy. He had a red apple. Derek had a green apple. Wow, I didn't even notice that. I do think you're right about Mickey, though, because after the attack at the sorority party, Mickey wasn't there to see anything, but when he's consoling Sydney in the hospital, he says, like, Derek should have never gone back into that house. And Sydney sort of gives like a little bit of a weird look because, at least as far as we know, Mickey doesn't know that Derek went back into the house. So I think that is a pretty big giveaway. And yeah, if I didn't, the first time I watched that movie, I was in high school. I watched it opening night when it came out. I probably would have guessed it like if I watched it for the first time as an adult. Because yeah, I do think it's a bit on the nose, similarly to, I think Scream 5 was kind of like that. I guess the killer's within the first act. So yeah, I mean, I really dig that sequel, but I totally get you, Avery. It is a bit obvious, who the killer is for sure. Medley Man says Halloween Ends is better than 2018. I tend to agree. Right there on that one with you there, Medley Man. I don't think that's a hot take. Yeah, so let's see here. Ooh, we got some Predator 2 talk. Let's see here. Psycho 2. I'm going to star a couple of these, and then let me jump back in to the original starred chats here just to catch up with where we were at here. Ooh, Avery brought up Halloween 2. So yeah, Avery, how do you feel? Like, are you still really, I'm guessing you're talking about the original Halloween 2. I think there's so much to like there. It was my first experience with the Halloween franchise. I saw that movie on television when I was a little kid. I was immediately mesmerized with Michael. Just like they say in Dumb and Dumber, tractor beam pulled me right in. I do like the Dick Warlock walk. And there is something about, like, he does look a little bit different than Nick Castle. Of course, the way the mask fits him and everything like that. But especially like the opening, I really like the way they handled that opening in the film. It's got some good kills. It's got some, a little bit of fun nudity there, which is a welcome, part of that film for sure, as always. I do like the synthesizer added to the score. And it's funny, like a lot, like there's sometimes people can get into that whole, like, which score is better. It's kind of an odd topic because it's like, technically, while it's different, really they just kept the original score and they just added to it. So part of me is like, does it count as its own thing since it really wasn't like, redone completely and they just put that synth back there? A little bit of that carnival kind of sound there with the Halloween 2 score. But like I said earlier, I do think that the more and more time goes on, the more I'm just sort of like twiddling my thumbs at a couple parts in this movie where it just seems like it's kind of dragging. I don't know. Not dragging like the mythical creature, but dragging. Yes, terrible dad joke. Sequels that really scare me, Antonis says Insidious Chapter 2. I really dug that one. That's the last movie I've seen in the Insidious. How many Insidious films do they have? Do they have like 4 now? I don't even know. But I do really enjoy those first 2 Insidious films. I watched the first one alone late at night. I was living in a house with some bandmate buddies of mine, and I had the whole upstairs. It was sort of like a loft, like room/family room area. And I watched that Insidious movie by myself, the very first one, and it kind of freaked me out, not gonna lie. And then Antonis brings up the Final Destination, says he started a Final Destination marathon last night. Tonight he's watching part 2 to get ready for the, I think you mean the 16th of May for the new one there, Antonis. Yeah, I would say with Final Destination, I'm pretty lukewarm on a lot of those movies. I think the second movie and the 5th movie are sort of like tied for my favorite. Then I'd put the first movie. Then I'd put the third movie. And then I'd put the 4th movie, which was really not that good. So I have high hopes that Final Destination 6 could possibly be the best in the franchise so far. And Trisha says Scream 2 is her favorite sequel in the franchise. My favorite sequel is Scream 4. That's where I'm at, Trisha. But I do really like Scream 2. I think that's my 3rd favorite in the franchise. And she says Psycho 2 as well. And Dean throws that out there. Psycho 2, semi-underrated sequel. It is getting more play nowadays, huh, Dean? Um, I don't think I've seen Psycho 2. I need to jump in there. And I think I've only seen the original and the remake. So I need to catch up on all of those sequels because I've heard that they're all really good. Psychos 2 through 4. I've heard good things. I've been thinking good things about you. Little Descendants action there for you guys. Big Rod, one of our great channel members, says Evil Dead 2 definitely comes to mind as best in class sequels. Yeah, man, a lot of people may even say that's their favorite in the entire franchise, that second Evil Dead film. It's so much fun. I mean, when I got into that franchise, it was easily my favorite because Ash is more of a character. There's way more action. There's, that whole Three Stooges meets, what they did with the first film is at a pitch perfect mix in that sequel. And I love Evil Dead 2. The one that is my favorite, though, Big Rod, it's probably not a secret to you since you're always hanging out here with us. I love that Evil Dead 2013. It's not a remake. I know people call it a remake, and I get it. I guess you could call it a reboot in a sense, but, Ash's car is right there. So to me, it's similarly to Halloween 2018, it's a sequel that pretty much has the same name. I mean, the original is The Evil Dead, and Evil Dead 2013 is just Evil Dead. But that's my favorite sequel in the franchise. And that's one of the reasons why I included it on the sweet little thumbnail for this live stream. Fede Alvarez, man, he does such a good job of capturing the spirit of the original Evil Dead film. And I really prefer that kind of more serious approach to Evil Dead. I love all the films in the franchise. It's my favorite horror movie franchise. And Fede Alvarez, there's just something about the intensity that he captures. Great performances he gets, especially from Jane Levy. He really put her through the ringer on that one and got some really, really good stuff out of her. So I certainly appreciate that. And I actually just finally watched Alien Romulus this last week. And man, those Alien movies, they have so much dumb stuff going on in them. Outside of the first two movies, they can get pretty stupid. But they always have, there's always something kind of fun going on. I wasn't a big fan of Covenant. I really enjoyed a lot of what Prometheus did. I really like the world building and the lore and everything that they built up in Prometheus. But not everything in that movie works for me. And the things that don't work for me really don't work for me in Prometheus. But for the most part, I really enjoy that film. I mean, I think it's absolutely gorgeous. It's stunning as far as the way it looks and the way it's presented. And I think with Romulus, a lot of the characters are sort of like nothing burgers, unfortunately, in that movie. But the guy that played Andy, the android, what a friggin' performance. I mean, when he's just regular Andy, the facial acting, like the subtle looks of kind of like confusion and almost like processing looks that he has were all very convincing. And then of course he gets that upgrade and becomes something a little bit different there. And Alien Romulus was pretty fun, kind of dumb, kind of dumb, like a lot of those Alien movies can be, but certainly worth the watch. I mean, I don't know if I'll revisit it, or I don't see myself wanting to go out and buy a copy of Alien Romulus, but a fun popcorn flick for sure. And again, Fede, it's not his job to completely save that franchise because there's been bumps and bruises all along the way. But he does a really good job of capturing the original feel and intent of those, especially those first two Alien movies. So really dig that about Alien Romulus. Ooh, Dominic says another favorite sequel is Predator 2. Predator in the City is really cool. Man, I haven't seen that one since I was a kid. But I do really love that they totally went their own direction with Predator 2. And yeah, it takes place I think it's supposed to be 1997 or something like that. And what the movie probably came out in 90 or 91, or maybe it was 92. I don't know. But yeah, they get that whole super hot, unseasonably warm kind of urban jungle vibe going on there. Danny Glover, always fun. Gary Busey, fun as well. And I really like, again, kind of going back to what I said with the about Prometheus, the way they expand the lore in Predator 2 was really cool. I mean, I think that's where we get our first glimpse of like the xenomorph in the kind of like the trophy case room at the end. I really dug that. And I like how it sort of opened up the Predator characters as like, even though they are hunters, they also appreciate somebody that's really good at hunting as well. So I love that whole idea of like, hey, well, you killed one of ours, so we're gonna let you go and we're gonna give you a gift because you won the hunt, so to speak. Boom, and Antonis drops a $5 super chat. Antonis, thank you so much, man. I was gonna get to I've already, at this point, I've already talked about your marathon. I'm guessing you've seen all of these movies though, right? Let me know if you've seen these movies. I think Final Destination 2 is pretty fun. It's got some really fun kills. The benefit that Final Destination 2 has is that it can really just sort of fly through everything because you already kind of know what to expect from it. And it has arguably the best opening in the franchise. I do think the opening from part 5 is pretty good though, as well. So yeah, thank you so much for the $5, Antonis. Really appreciate it, bud. All right, now let me jump back into the chat because I'm way behind now. Did anybody like Smile 2? I really dug Smile 2. I know it's so similar to the first movie, just everything ratcheted up. But I do think it's a better movie than the first movie for sure. And what's her name? Is it Naomi Scott? Is that the name of the lead actress? Let me know if I've got that wrong. But I do really appreciate that she helped write some of the music and she, plays the piano and sings. I think that's pretty awesome as a performer to sort of show that whole like range of what she can do, that it's not just about the acting, it's like the full performance. Bummed out that Kyle Gallner couldn't be in the movie longer than he was, but I totally get it. I'll just take all the Kyle Gallner I can get when I'm watching a horror movie. But yeah, I really enjoyed Smile 2. Jeff says this year 2025 has the exact Friday the 13th date of June 13th from the original film. How cool is that? And it'll be 45 years of the original Friday the 13th this year. That is pretty wild. Hopefully by that June 13th date, we've got a really nice trailer for the Crystal Lake TV show. If they don't drop us a trailer on that day, then I don't know. Then my faith will be completely lost in the people running that show. There you go. Love Smile 2 from Melanie. Love Smile 2 from Trisha as well. Big Rod says Maniac Cop has the best firewalk scene I've ever seen on film. Better than Halloween 2. All right. Well, I'll have to check it out. Avery says, I haven't seen Smile, but the trailer for its sequel actually annoyed me. I don't know why. That's the thing about trailers, is they can sort of undercut how good the movie could actually be, or make you think the movie's going to be better. It can go either way. Denise really likes Smile 2. There you go. Trisha says it's very rewatchable. That's always good, right? That's always a good thing if a movie's rewatchable. I think that's a good quality to have in any film for sure. Dominic says, or is reminding me that Harry Manfredini did the music for Jason Goes to Hell. I get it, and I really like his contribution to the franchise. I just don't like the production, the way the music sounds, if that makes sense. Like, I prefer actual organic instrumentation over, well, I guess it all depends. I don't like the voices that are used on the synth in Jason Goes to Hell. So I don't mind synth in a soundtrack. I think it can really work. Obviously, the music I have in the background is very synthy from White Bat Audio. Subscribe or check them out if you want some good background music. But yeah, I mean, even though Harry Manfredini did the music, I just don't like the way it sounds, I'm just not a fan. K-Dabs like the first Smile more. All right. Butter Cookie Amitum. I don't know what that means, Butter Cookie, but welcome to the chat. I think this is your first time hanging out, so welcome on in. Oh, there we go. A Nightmare on Elm Street 2, Freddy's Revenge. This Freddy is the darkest. I think that's, yeah. It's really tight between the first two movies. But yeah, I do think that Freddy is less jokey, right? at least he is less comedic. Even though in the first movie he's comedic, but in a really dark way. I was one of those people that really enjoyed Freddy's Revenge for a really long time, even before it kind of got its resurgence of love. Or, it seems like as the years go on, people bring that up as, like a top 3 or top, one of the better sequels in the franchise. I'm relatively lukewarm on it at this point because I feel like Jesse's character is just always kind of saying the same thing. He's always just like, what's happening to me? I don't know what's happening to me. And it just seems to be like the same kind of thing with Jesse. But I do agree with you. The Freddy is the darkest. They do take some chances, so I like that. And I do enjoy the movie. Although I would say I think I like Dream Warriors better. I definitely like Wes Craven's New Nightmare more. And maybe like Freddy's Revenge in Part 4. Is Part 4 the Dream Child, right? Those are like kind of neck and neck, holding on to that 4th spot. Let's see here. I already got that super chat. Let's see. Ooh, Jeff, you got to give it another watch, man. So I don't know if you liked it or if you didn't. I'm guessing you probably didn't really like it if you haven't watched it again. I love Halloween Ends. I think it just gets better and better. So I highly recommend that one. Andy says Hills Have Eyes 2. Haven't seen it. Wrong Turn 2. I haven't seen that one. Puppet Master 2. I think I've seen that one, but it's been a really, really long time. Let's see here. What else do we got? Antona says I finished watching the Final Destination stream with you and Fatchy and Kyle. Loved it. You guys had lots of fun. Yeah, I think that movie it's pretty fun. For what it is the rare case of like the first movie in a franchise that I don't enjoy as much as, a couple of the sequels. But we wouldn't have gotten the sequels if we didn't have that first one. Medley Man chimes in on Halloween 2, says it's the most scary and mesmerizing version of Michael Myers. And then there are the overextended chase scenes and outmaneuvering Michael in the hall scenes and the kill padding characters. Yeah, they definitely add way more characters so they can sneak in those kills. Lots of Michael walking on the security footage for sure, which maybe played better for me as a 9-year-old kid watching it on TV, admittedly. Let's see here. We got Chris from Movie Misfits Video. What's happening, Chris? I'm doing all right, man. A little bit better now that I'm on a stream. It's been an odd week or so for me, but I'm happy to be on here with all you guys. Guys, Chris just launched his Who Killed Who for the Scream franchise, and he had a little trouble getting most of those episodes past the rights holders. But the very first episode which is sort of like a predecessor to the films, is Who Killed Maureen. You can catch that on his YouTube channel. So jump on over to Movie Misfits Video. Make sure you check that out. And I think, Chris, they can find the rest of the episodes from a link on your channel page. Is that right? Let us know. Let us know. Big Rod says, I'm surprised no one has said Terrifier 2. I mean, I like Terrifier 1 best, but I think that's not the popular opinion. Yeah, I'm one of those weird ones. I think that I like the third one best because it was the most like fun-loving. It's the shortest sequel. The first Terrifier to me is just sort of like a demo tape, kind of like a proof of concept, a gore reel, if you will. And then I think Terrifier 2 is just way too long for me. Terrifier 3 is a bit too long for me as well. But about 13 minutes shorter, something like that. So yeah, I'm kind of surprised too, Big Rod, because I do think that the overall opinion on the Terrifier series is that the second one is the best film in the franchise. I'm not the biggest Terrifier guy. It's just not necessarily my cup of tea when I go to horror films. But I can certainly appreciate that it is kind of like the new thing, especially with the younger generation. But I guess I'm just a bit of an old school guy. I don't mind gore, but I don't need every kill to be like balls to the wall gore, if that makes any sense. I don't know if it does. I guess it depends on maybe your age or just your taste as well. Let me jump on in here. Finally, some love for Scream 4, says Melanie. Yeah, guys, let's talk some Scream 4. Man, I expected nothing from Scream 4 the first time I watched it, and I watched it maybe 5 years after it came out. It was 4 or 5. It was like 2015 or 2016 when I first saw it. I was so pleasantly surprised. Emma Roberts is just great. Hayden Panettiere is awesome in there. Is it Kieran Culkin? Is that the one that's in there? I get so confused with some of those younger Culkins. I really liked him as well. I enjoyed a lot of the performances in Scream 4. Yeah, sometimes the Vaseline cam, which isn't all the time, but sometimes I didn't notice it at first, but once it got brought to my attention, it's like once you've seen it, you can't unsee it. But I do love that Wes sort of used it as an opportunity to kind of like revamp and revitalize the franchise. He upped the gore. He sort of like took things to the next level. And I really dig that about Scream 4. It is, I will say easily my favorite sequel in the franchise for sure. Trisha is pumped for Final Destination 6. I'm pretty excited too. Ooh, Dominic does have a hot take here. Dominic says, hot take, Final Destination 4 is my favorite Final Destination sequel, along with 5 and 2. Yeah, 4, I think it was just the lead character, the guy he's in the Scream TV show. Is it just the second season or is he in the first season? I'm kind of confused because I usually watch that. I've watched that show, the first 2 seasons twice, and I just like plow right through it. But that guy that plays like the teacher, Seth, whatever his name is, in the Scream TV show, I don't find him very convincing as a performer, unfortunately. So in Final Destination 4, it's pretty distracting. The N-bomb really caught me by surprise, Dominic. I didn't expect that to be dropped within the first 15 minutes of the movie either. To me, it kind of stood out as the weakest one of the bunch. But part 3, for all the love that it gets, and I guess I get it because I know people crush on Mary Elizabeth Winstead. I just wasn't too moved by Final Destination 3. Like it was okay. But I guess I had higher expectations from what I had heard. Chris says Scream 3 is his favorite of the sequels. I warm up to that one more and more every time I watch it, Chris. I think Scream 3's got some really good stuff. I think the killer reveal, the whole last act of Scream 3 is very solid. One of the better last acts in the franchise, for sure. I think for Scream 3, what sort of stands in the way is maybe it gets a little too jokey. Jay and Silent Bob, all that kind of stuff that gets worked in there. But I get it. It's supposed to take place on the actual dimension, wherever dimension does wherever that lot is. I don't know if that's supposed to be the Universal lot or whatever. But I think Scream 3's got a lot of positives for sure. And I love Parker Posey. So, there you go. Look at how far behind I am on the chat. 20 minutes behind. Yeah, I got to check those out, Dean. Let me see. Trisha says Scream 4 is her least. Not totally sure why. How many times have you seen it, Trisha? When was the last time you checked it out? Let me know. I might jump ahead a little bit here. It's been so long since I've seen Hello, Mary Lou Prom Night 2. But I know, we talked about it about a month ago or a few weeks ago on the Hit the Bricks Live, the very first episode. And Lee from Drum Dums is a huge fan. So I need to jump back in and check that out because I've not seen that one since high school. So it's been a while. And I've never seen any of the Amityville sequels. I've only seen the original. I haven't even seen the remake with 12-pack abs Ryan Reynolds. Andy says Army of Darkness does a better job with the Three Stooges kind of humor, like The Graveyard. It sure does, and it leans into it maybe a little more than is my preference, Andy. So that's why I like that really good mix in Evil Dead 2. Yeah, Exorcist 3 is great, Chris. Really, really good stuff. George C. Scott in horror movies, The Changeling and Exorcist 3, that's all I need to know that he's, not only does he have the chops outside of the horror genre, but he does a damn good job when he steps into it. Poltergeist 2 and 3 I like more than the original. Man, I don't know if I've seen Poltergeist 3. I do really like Poltergeist 2, but I am such a fan of that original movie. I've only seen the sequel maybe twice, maybe only once. But I did really enjoy it. I thought it was a good extension of the story. I like seeing that family again, of course, and learning a little bit more of, what really went on that led to the haunting in the original film. So I do like that aspect of it for sure. Yeah. The absolute worst movie I've ever seen is Zombie 4. The worst movie I haven't seen is Silent Night, Deadly Night Part 3. The worst movie you haven't seen. So how do you know? Maybe it wouldn't be. Maybe you should watch it. Maybe it will become the worst movie you have seen, and then a new movie could be the worst movie you've never seen. I've never seen Zombie 4. I don't even know if I've seen Zombie 3. Because Zombie 2 is technically Lucio Fulci's Zombie. Is that right? Because Zombie 1 is Dawn of the Dead, which is a sequel. And the poster was on the neat little thumbnail for this live stream. I really enjoy Dawn of the Dead. I love it. It's epic in length, epic in story. You really get to know the characters. You spend a lot of time with just that handful of characters. I really enjoy that aspect of Dawn of the Dead. My favorite sequel, though, in the George Romero Dead series is Day of the Dead. It is my favorite zombie movie of all time. To me, the closest zombie movie that's not Day of the Dead is Peter Jackson's Dead Alive, which, oh man, Dead Alive is so much fun. I mean, it's got that Evil Dead 2, but ramped up to like 11, really, really fun stuff. Never seen Waxwork 2. I haven't seen House 2 either, Andy. I really like that first House movie, the Steve Miner one. I do enjoy that. And Chris says it's a great one. Okay. All right. Avery says, I like Fede. I just expected more from the 2022 Texas Chainsaw Massacre movie. He didn't direct that one, though, did he? I think he just produced that one. I don't think he directed it. I expected more from it, though, as well. And yeah, when it comes to Texas Chainsaw, there's a couple of those movies I haven't seen because I'm the kind of person where I really enjoy the tone of the original. So I also really dig the remake from 2003. Man, Marcus Nispel, when he directs like the TCM remake and the Friday the 13th remake, I think he does a great job with both of those movies as far as directing goes. The 2022 Texas Chainsaw Massacre movie it's plenty of fun. Don't get me wrong. But what is it, like 80 minutes? It's like barely the length of it's barely a full length movie. But there is some fun stuff. But yeah, Avery, I expected more from that one as well. Boom. Chris, throwing out another one that I have yet to see, but I've heard so many good things about Return of the Living Dead 3. Seems like kind of a fun, gets back to a little bit of the punk rock vibe of the original from everything I've heard and all the reviews I've listened to and everything like that. So that one's to be on the list for sure. Medley Man's got a hot take here. Holy cow. Land of the Dead and Diary of the Dead are better than Night of the Living Dead OG. You know what? I don't think that maybe that's not that hot of a take. I love Land of the Dead. And I really like Diary of the Dead. I think that one gets a lot of hate. There's some stuff in there that doesn't really work for me. But I really appreciate Diary of the Dead. It's been a while since I've watched that one. I should probably jump back in. But I remember seeing that on opening night, Diary of the Dead. It's funny, because even though I lived in Portland for 11 years or so, when Diary of the Dead came out, I was living here in the Phoenix area, which is where I'm at right now. And I went and saw that movie opening night and had a really good time with Diary. I also saw Land of the Dead. I don't think it was opening night, but it was opening weekend at the Cinerama in Hollywood, which I believe might be shut down now. But fun fact, and a little RIP to our guy Tony Todd, whose final appearance is going to be in Final Destination 6, which we've been talking about a whole bunch tonight. Tony Todd was at that screening of Land of the Dead that I was at in Hollywood. Now, I didn't go up and talk to him, but it was pretty obvious that it was him. I like nudged my brother because we were in the lobby, and I'm like, "Oh my god, that's Tony Todd. He was Candyman. He was in the remake of Night of the Living Dead. Like, it's got to be him because he was just this big dude." You know, sometimes when you see those performers, there's just something about him that just like you can just tell right away. Like, this is not just somebody that looks like this guy. And I tell you what, the theater was not too packed. I was honestly, when I first saw Land of the Dead, I was a little let down. I was expecting so much from it. I don't know where my head was at. I don't know what's wrong with me, because now it's one of those movies where every single time I watch it, I love it even more. I think Simon Baker's so good in that movie, so ridiculously charming. What's the I'm trying to think of the guy that plays Charlie. I'm trying to think of his name right now, and it's totally slipping my mind right now, but I love his performance. John Leguizamo, who can sometimes be a little bit too much depending on the movie you're watching. I think he's really good in that film as well. And of course you have Dennis Hopper. You know, a lot of great one-liners from Dennis Hopper in that film. And speaking of Land of the Dead, guys, really quick. So I was just recently on with Ashley and Ken from Sledgehammer Horror, and they just dropped the video that we had pre-recorded maybe about a month ago or so, a few weeks ago, for In Defense Of, where I defend Land of the Dead. Now, I know that there are more people coming around on that movie. I still think, as far as the Dead series goes, it's one of the movies that doesn't get that much love. So, you know, they have that series In Defense Of, and I picked Land of the Dead to check out. And maybe I can even I'm going to drop the link in the chat for you guys, so you guys can check that out at your leisure. Always really fun to jump on with those guys. I really dig hanging out with Ashley and Ken. So let me go ahead and just drop that in the chat. So if you guys want to click that link and put it on your watch later list, you can check it out once the stream is all finished here. Chris says, I really like both the first two Hostel movies, but I do like part two slightly more than the first one. Man, part one kind of put me off with the torture porn kind of approach. Not the biggest fan of that kind of movie. Although it's weird, like I like the first Martyrs movie, but I mean, it's one of those one and done kind of movies because it really has a great effect on you. So I have not ever seen part two. In fact, like there's a lot of Eli Roth that I haven't seen. I don't even know if he directed the second one. But I'm a massive Thanksgiving fan. So maybe I need to go back, give old Eli another shot on some of his other flicks there. Let me jump a little bit ahead here. What's happening, Eli? How are you doing? That's our guy, Eli Cortez, channel member and Death Squad mod. Hope you're having a great night as well, my guy. I think I'm going to just jump right ahead unless I see something that really jumps out to me here. Chris, I'm right with you, man. The first Rob Zombie Halloween is just sort of useless in a way. I mean, like you already have the original's perfect. And I really enjoy Rob Zombie's Halloween 2. It's like smack dab in the middle of my ranking. I'm a huge fan. You guys know how I feel about this one. I've talked about it quite a bit. I could go on and on about Rob Zombie's Halloween 2. I'm not quite Nick from the Lost River Drive-In level where it's like my favorite in the franchise. But I do think it gets way too much hate. Again, I'll probably say this about a lot of movies. Not everything works for me. I can't defend every little decision made in that movie. But I love the chances that it takes, and I love that it's so much different than most of the rest of the franchise, for sure. Let's see here. Avery says, I feel like Rob Zombie's Halloween 2 is A24 horror before A24 horror was a thing. Kind of, yeah. A little bit more of a introspective, kind of personal look. A way bigger deep dive into character trauma. Definitely diving into trauma before that was like the hot button thing to do in horror. for sure. And I think those are some of the chances that Rob took with that sequel that really, really worked for me. I prefer the director's cut because you get more of that kind of the uglier aspects of Laurie's character, which I really appreciate about that Rob Zombie sequel for sure. Let's see here. What else do we got? I feel like I'm just like I love 80s Italian synth. I do too, Eli. It's just the synth in Jason Goes to Hell that I don't know. The soundtrack for Jason Goes to Hell and the soundtrack for The New Blood. For whatever reason, it's like the voices on the synth. I just really, really don't dig. Not a fan. Andy liked Freddy with the power glove. Yeah. Man, Freddy's Dead. It's got some good tunes in it. And that's about all I can say about Freddy's Dead. But yeah, oh, you forgot the power glove. Good stuff. Dean Renner says, I haven't seen either of the House of the Deads. I almost did a watch party tonight for the first House of the Dead. Or not really a watch party, more of a Davy Science Theater 3000. Because it's really bad. It's Uwe Boll doesn't really do good shit. We all know that. Sega's name is like all over, like they're like sponsoring. They have like banners that have like the Sega logo because they created the video game. So there's like a rave on this island. The huge Sega logos. They do this whole like meta kind of breaking the fourth wall, talking about the George Romero Dead movies, which I'm just like, oh my gosh, the last thing you should do in a movie as bad as House of the Dead is start talking about the George Romero movies, because it's not going to make your movies look any better. Leanna is a huge Friday the 13th Part 3 fan. Yeah, it's a classic within the franchise, man. I wish I liked Chris more as a final girl. I do like her freak out at the end. I just think for the rest of the time, pretty like lukewarm. I love the Cheech and Chong characters. Plenty of great nudity. Some really fun practical effects, even though they don't, necessarily age so well with the 3D. But man, the way Jason looks, the Richard Brooker with the traps and the button-up work shirt. When he's unmasked, he looks amazing. Of course, getting the mask is awesome. I like the character of Shelley. I think there's Friday the 13th, like they all kind of have that jokey character that's sort of borderlines on annoying, but that's kind of a slasher trope, See here what else you guys got going on. Ooh, Chris brings up a good one. I haven't seen this movie since the theater. Is Blair Witch 2 just bad or underrated? Because I can't decide and I'm torn on the answer. Well, I don't know. What do you guys think? What do you think, chat? I remember liking it in the theater, but I was a kid pretty much. I was a teenager. I do think it's a good thing that they don't completely go the found footage route, even though I'm pretty sure once the movie is all wrapping up and you get to the twist, you see some CCTV footage of things that happened. I do like how they sort of treat it almost like a possession movie, and they do have that fun little twist at the end. I'd have to watch it again, though, to see if I think it's bad or just underrated. But I do like that actor, the one guy that was in, what was he in, Burn Notice? I don't know what it is about him. I don't know if he's necessarily that good of an actor, or I just like his chops for some reason. I have no idea. All right, so there's the Movie Misfits vid link there, and then there's the link for the Google Drive if you want to check out Chris's Who Killed Who Scream series. Guys, Chris put a lot of work into that, about a year's worth of work, so don't let the rights holders of Scream spoil the whole or rain on the entire parade. Check out that link and give his videos some love. Dean says, I had a boring and semi-depressing week myself this week. Yeah, dude. But here we are on a Friday night. We can climb out of it, right? Let's see here. I'm not watching 1,000 sequels. That's good. No one should try to watch 1,000 sequels. That's way too many sequels. Yeah. Show Chris some love. Give him a sub. It kind of rhymes. It's a little bit of a slant rhyme, so I'm into it. I don't think anyone's said Omen 2. I think I've only seen the original. I still need to watch the first Omen because I know a lot of people were pumped on that movie from last year. Let me know if it's something I should check out. Let's see here. I know I'm so far behind. Guys, I might just climb right to the front of the chat here. What's happening, Billy? Hope you are doing well. Yes, there was a Scream TV show, Andy. I really liked the first 2 seasons. I wasn't expecting much from it. I felt like they delivered on as much of the gore as they could. I'm not the biggest TV show guy, but I got to admit, I kind of got wrapped up into the whole thing. So I enjoyed it quite a bit. Like, I liked the mystery and all that kind of fun stuff. And holy cow, everybody, we've got Cody Leach jumping in, driving back from Atlanta. Cody says, thrill me. All right, Cody. Yeah, we are talking horror movie sequels. So I know you're driving, but if there's a sequel that has not been mentioned yet that you would like us to discuss, then jump on in and let us know. Have a great rest of your night there, Eli. Hope you are doing well. We got Universal Dork jumping in, says, I agree with you on the Terrifier kills, etc. Sometimes less is actually way more. Would like it to shift a bit more into more intriguing plot lines / backstory. Needs to be a lot more interesting. That's what I'm hoping we get with Terrifier 4. So I don't know how many more of these movies Damien Leone is planning on making. And I wish we got more than just breadcrumbs in Terrifier 2 and Terrifier 3. What I want to see from Terrifier 4 is like a all-out battle between heaven and hell. That's what I want to see. And yeah, I want to get some answers on what the hell's going on with Art, because all of a sudden in Terrifier 3, it's like he's not even really the main villain. He's kind of just like a pawn. And Victoria becomes like, she shifts into like the main villain role. So I'm really curious about all that too. And I don't think it's that unpopular of an opinion to say that while Damien Leone is, I mean, gosh, can't take anything away from the guy's success. It's amazing what he's created with that property. And if you go to a horror convention or you go to a store that sells horror gear, you're going to see Art the Clown all over the damn place. And that's awesome. It's good for horror. So I really appreciate that. But yeah, I'm in the same boat as you where I want to see more lore. And I know, Evan from Rockland Graves Productions, amazing channel. That guy's channel is just like, he's going to be the biggest, one of the biggest channels in the horror YouTube space, probably in a few months here. He does these really smart, video essays that like, he really does the dives. Like, I learn more about the lore and about the metaphors and everything being presented in those movies from watching Evan's videos than I do from watching the movie, and or any of the movies, which I think unfortunately is a little bit of a detriment to the Terrifier franchise, and maybe keep some of us older cats a little further away from like completely falling in love with the franchise. Now I do think like, everyone can talk about like, is Art the Clown a horror icon? And I think like a lot of the old heads are kind of like, no, he's not an icon. He needs like X amount of movies or whatever. I don't necessarily agree with that. I think he's absolutely a horror icon. I think we can safely say that Art the Clown is a horror icon. It doesn't mean that the movies give me everything that I want, and it doesn't mean that they're my cup of tea. But I think it's a good thing for horror that they're out there, even though they've clearly inspired all of these weird, public domain, like children's character horror movies, which I don't know. And oh my gosh, guys, a couple weeks ago or like a week and a half ago, I watched that Stream movie. I think that's got some of the team from Terrifier on board. Holy crap, that movie was way too long. It was a lot like lower budget than I thought it would be. It didn't even look like the Never Hike Alone movies that Vincent DeSanti, has put together through crowdfunding look far better and far more cinematic and professional than something like Stream looked. So I was a bit disappointed with that. That's I know I'm going off on a little tangent there, but but yeah, Terrifier. I'm hoping that in part 4 we finally get some real answers there on that one. Let's see here. What's happening, Nicholas? How are you doing? Hope the week is treating you well. And speaking of public domain children's characters, Nicholas says I watched Popeye the Slayer Man yesterday. Have you seen it? I have not. I don't know. Is it worth it? Is it worth paying money for? You got to let me know. Cody Leach says Fright Night Part 2 is an underrated sequel. Absolutely, Cody. Yes. Yeah, those Fright Night movies are really fun. It's, the vampire subgenre is really interesting because I see, like, it's not a subgenre that's like in my tippy top, but man, when they kind of straddle that line between a little bit of that comedy, a little like tongue in cheek, I really love those movies. So I think the Fright Night movies certainly have that in there. Although I've never seen the Fright Night remake, but like, yeah, stuff like From Dusk Till Dawn, like I enjoy the hell out of that. I know, Cody's a huge Abigail fan. I'm sort of like, I don't know if I'm lukewarm on Abigail, especially now that I've seen more of the Radio Silence movies. And it did remind me of House on Haunted Hill 99, which I really enjoyed. So I'll give Abigail that. But yeah, Fright Night Part 2, super underrated. Really, really damn fun. I wonder if we're ever going to see another return to that franchise. It'll be interesting. It's too bad, with Anton Yelchin's like untimely passing. It's too bad because maybe we would have gotten another one in that series of movies. And I probably should watch that remake because especially lately, I really do dig Colin Farrell's work. So I gotta check that out. And yeah, Avery brings up that it's finally getting a new physical media release, so keep an eye out for that. I think they announced that one, is that the one that they said is going to drop this year, or it's not going to drop this year? I get so confused on physical media news because I just can't keep up, you guys. There's so much of it out there. Let's see here. Yeah, I'm trying to keep everything just to like the sequels and stuff like that tonight, Antonis. But if it's something else that you want to see a dedicated stream to, then just let me know and we can put a little something together. Oh my gosh, Billy, I love Rhodes in Day of the Dead. I love a good bad guy that you can totally like understand their motivation. And I think that the performance of Rhodes is unbelievable. I mean, that line, I'm running this monkey farm now, Frankenstein, and I want to know what the fuck you're doing with my time. One of the best lines in all of horror. And there's a whole bunch of other, like, you just handed us a mouthful of Greek salad. There's just all sorts of great lines from Rhodes. And I do think that's one of the strengths in Romero's films is writing complex bad guys. Just bad guys that you can at least understand their motivations. So that's the thing about Rhodes is he is, he's a terrible character as far as like everything that he does in that movie. But if you look at it from his perspective, you can totally see exactly why he is that way. So yeah, I really, really dig Rhodes. I think that's one of those movies too. When I watch Day of the Dead, I'm like, man, I know that Tarantino is a huge fan of like Dawn of the Dead and all that, but even maybe like if I ever got the chance to bump into Tarantino, I would want to ask him about Day of the Dead because I pick up a lot of like the way that he writes his characters, writing unsavory characters that like say terrible things, but then get their comeuppance. Like I feel like a lot of that does come from Romero. And I would love to see Tarantino tackle something like a little bit of an elevated zombie film, or even, I mean, I just want to see this regardless of who's making it, but I think he would do a great job. Like an Evil Dead film that takes place in the Old West. I mean, I'll go ahead and make that movie if I have to make it, but I'm no Quentin Tarantino, obviously. Let's see here. All right, I'm so far behind. Melanie, I've never seen the Quiet Place movies. I think it's because John Krasinski's face. I don't know what it is about his face. Some actors just have that kind of thing. Right? But I guess what? Is he only in the first movie? I don't even know. Oh, I'm just ignorant and talking shit over here. Let's see here. Who else do we got jumping in here? Oh, Jeff says I got to see Land of the Dead at the theater. I don't think I've ever seen Diary or Survival. I love all the other Dead movies, though. Oh, man. Survival of the Dead. The only George Romero movie I've seen where I'm like, that is never. I've only watched it once. I own it. I own it on Blu-ray, but I've only watched it once. I just had to complete the collection. But it's like he really did sort of lose me on that one. But I would say, Jeff, if you like found footage movies, Diary of the Dead's worth watching. If you enjoy the other Dead movies, I would say give it a watch. It's far from perfect, but there's some really impressive stuff in there. And it's kind of works as sort of like a little bit of a reboot, because even though it modernizes, like the settings are modernized, but it goes back to like the night that everything happened. So you do go back to the beginning of the phenomenon, but it's taking place in modern day, which would have been what, like 2006, I think, when they were filming that one. So yeah. Chester, what's happening, my guy? Hope you are doing well. Andy, thank you so much. Robert Joy, who plays Charlie in Land of the Dead. Such a great performance. Love it so much. Let's see. Who else do we got? I know I'm so far behind. Fight the Good Fight is in the chat. What's happening, bud? Says, hey, Davey. Wow, never saw Brain Scan. You're going to love it. I'm kind of happy that it's winning the poll. Actually, I'm going to check and see. Is it still 51%? So it looks like that's going to be the one. We've got 41 votes, guys. If you haven't voted yet, go ahead and jump in there. If you haven't hit the like, hit that button as well. So many people have been talking about this one. I think especially since last year, because it was the 30th anniversary, that I was seeing a lot of, Garrett from Born to Be Rad was talking about it. My guy Foz Rotten is always talking about Brain Scan. So, it sounds like it's sort of like a video games meets like Freddy Krueger meets, what's the, like kind of like Lawnmower Man, that whole virtual reality kind of like thing that was popping off it's so funny that popped off in like the mid 90s. And here we are, where both virtual reality is like an actual thing. It's it's too funny. Let's see here. Moving on ahead. Jester says, no disrespect to Halloween 209, but I like his remake more. Not a hot take, just my opinion. Yeah, fair enough, man. It's just an opinion on art, so I totally get it. There are certain parts of that remake that I do like. I like seeing the Strodes, get the business from Michael. It just feels so real. And it is something that's just added to that night that he came home. I think for me, it's the first 40 minutes or whatever of that movie, seeing him as a kid. If you guys have hung out on the channel for any extended amount of time, that like, I don't mind seeing backstory with certain characters that we already have some backstory for. Like the Crystal Lake TV show, if that dives more into like Jason's backstory and all that, like I think we've gotten quite a bit of Jason's backstory. So it doesn't seem so mysterious. Same with like Freddy Krueger. I wouldn't mind seeing like, a prequel or some sort of Freddy movie before he's Demon Freddy. Excuse me. But when it comes to Michael, I don't want to know anything about Michael. Like what I love about Michael is that he's like supernatural and he's human, and somehow those two things work together where he's just the embodiment of evil. And I love that about Michael. So it's probably just a personal little thing that I can't get past, Chester, which is probably why, and I guess like to an extent, Rob Zombie's Halloween 2, does sort of keep that alive by bringing the whole family thing in there. But I do really like, the closer he gets to Laurie, like the more like him she becomes. There's like, it seems to, I don't know, kind of be his own thing in that one, which is why I dig that one more. But yeah, I can't blame you. I think a lot of people, I don't know how old you are, Chester, but I know a lot of people that are, were probably teenagers when those movies were coming out. I think a lot of them probably prefer the remake over the sequel. What's happening, Herbert? How you doing? So good to see you. Hey there, Paula, one of our great channel members. No worries on being late. You can always scrub it on back if you want to. Denise says she saw a fan cut of H209 and appreciated the movie more. So what, it takes some of the aspects from the theatrical cut and some of the aspects of the director's cut. I do think the ending in the theatrical is better. But with the director's cut, I like seeing Laurie like really lose her shit and fully go through that arc. I mean, Scout Taylor Compton's performance in both movies is really good, but in that sequel, so much more is asked of her, and she fucking kills it. Like, I think a lot of times we get, well, maybe not we, but a lot of times when I hear people or see people talk about Scout, they're like, oh, she's so hot and all that stuff. Yes, she's a very beautiful woman. She seems to be getting more beautiful with age. That's awesome. But even cooler, she's really damn good at performing. Like, that's, man, you can be the prettiest person in the world, but if you can't act, I don't want you in the movies. Like, just get out of the movies, you know? And I think she does such a good job, and, you know, not being afraid to show the ugly side of the character. You know, that's a credit to her and a credit to Rob and everything they did on that film. So even though the director's cut is similarly to, like, I prefer the producer's cut of Curse of Michael Myers, there are a few things I would take from the other cut and swap out if I could, and sort of make, you know, a fan cut, like you're saying, Denise. Yeah, I would be interested in seeing that. Just a few things moved around there. Where's the Zack Snyder cut of H2O9? Where's the 4-hour cut of Rob Zombie's Halloween 2? But you know what we really want to see from Halloween 2 is that documentary. Supposedly there's like a 4-hour documentary that the Dimension will probably never release, because I'm sure it shows all the tumultuous goings on between Rob and the Weinsteins. So they probably don't want to let that one out. But I know that my guy Nick from the Lost River Drive-In would love to see that. I would love to see it as well. I think all of us H2 fans, I know, I'm not sure if Cody's still hanging out. I know he's a massive fan of Rob Zombie's Halloween 2 as well. So, man, that would be an amazing announcement if they could ever put something like that together. Maybe in 2029 for the 20th anniversary. Maybe we'll get a little something. Probably not, though. What's happening? Mark from Tales from the Shelf. How are you doing, Mark? We got to get back on here and do another versus battle. Mark, I know I probably say that all the time, but I'm settled into my new place. So hit me up and we'll get a little something going on. We could do a Terminator versus Terminator 2 or something like that. Because I'm always, I mean, talking about sequels, it's not really a horror sequel, but I think you could say the Terminator has horror elements, even though I still consider it like a sci-fi kind of noir film. Certainly the first third of the movie has more horror elements than the rest of the movie. But T2, I mean, one of the biggest, most amazing sequels of all time. Yet every single time I watch it, I'm like, oh, this is kind of a remake. Kind of a remake. You know, but Cameron did both of them, so more power to him. Way better effects in T2, or way more impressive effects, I will say. And some things are changed a little bit. But if you watch those movies back to back, the dynamics, like the beat for beat, like when you get an action scene, when you get exposition, the exposition scenes are very, very similar. Like there's just, it follows all the beats of the original. It's just got a way slicker production value for sure. Let's see here. All right, gonna jump ahead a little bit, making sure I'm not missing anyone. I know I'm so far behind on the chat. Thank you so much, Leanna. Don't forget to slash that like button, subscribe to the channel, and consider joining the Death Squad. That's right, just for 99 cents a month, you can get in on the members-only content, guys. Speaking of which, I do need to put together a members-only stream for our amazing group of members. Let's see here. Ooh, Dark City 4K from Arrow, enough said. I'm looking forward to checking that out again. It's been a while. It has certainly been a while. What other sequel talk we got going in here? Oh, Paula's got one. What are you most looking forward to in Scream 7? I think what I'm most looking forward to is seeing how Kevin Williamson does as a director. And I know the same guys that are writing it. What is it? Guy Busick and I can't remember the other person. I'm pretty sure they both had a hand in Scream 5 and 6. So I'm curious to know, and maybe we won't know until years after Scream 7 comes out. I'm curious to know how much Kevin's going to jump into that script, into that story, tweak some things, just make sure it all sort of, fits what he wants out of the story. I would imagine that even if he doesn't take a credit for writing, that since it's his baby, he's going to jump in there and make sure that it all fits his canon and his head canon, I suppose, as well. So yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing, because I don't think he's directed a movie since Teaching Mrs. Tingle, and that was like over 20 years ago. Maybe it was like 25 years ago, something like that. So I'm interested to see what his movie looks like. Is he going to capture that kind of Wes Craven feel? And ultimately, it will be interesting to see how they work in the quote unquote dead characters and how they bring them in. Regardless of what you want to say about Stu, I don't want Stu to be alive in this movie. But if they find a creative way to do it, I'll reserve judgment until I see it. But yeah, I'm really looking forward to seeing, Kevin and Nev getting to work on a Scream film. And I hope that they do a cliffhanger. Like, I really hope that we don't know the full story at the end of Scream 7, and that we certainly get a Scream 8 that kind of wraps it up, because these movies are so repetitive in the sense of like each movie has the Scooby-Doo ending. And I think one way to sort of not really subvert expectations, but one way to shake it up would be to have a cliffhanger, or at least not everything explained to us at the end of Scream 7. So yeah, I'm curious to know what they do with the story, obviously, and really looking forward to Williamson at the helm. Let's see here. Fight the Good Fight. Yes, I have seen that movie. I really enjoyed Moon. I like Sam Rockwell quite a bit. I think he's pretty damn fun. T. Parker says, I want extended cuts of Halloween 2018 and Ends. Additionally, cuts with the original ending for both films. That would be really cool. I think that's, because we, in the trailer for 2018, we did see shots from an alternate ending where Michael and Laurie are, really going at it in the front lawn. Not in that way. Like they're really duking it out, kind of like what would be like a final battle, you would imagine, because at one point they didn't know if they were going to make any more movies. So they wanted to make sure that they could have at least what could be, seen as a definitive end in Halloween 2018. So yeah, I'd love to see that as well, T. Parker. And welcome to the chat, man. And with Ends, I guess I don't even know what the original ending of Ends was going to be. I got to admit, I'm pretty ignorant and in the dark on that one. So if you want to let me know in the chat, let me know. Let's see here. Also an extended cut of Scream 4, hopefully when the 4K comes out this fall. And Dean is asking if that's actually coming out. Yeah, because originally, were they going to have an ending where Jill makes it out? I don't know. I feel like I've seen or heard something like that. Cruel ZV, welcome back. Welcome on back to the chat. What's your favorite horror movie sequel, Cruel ZV? Or what's a few of your favorite horror movie sequels? They don't have to be direct sequels. It can be anyone in the franchise. Let me know. Have a good night, Chester. Hopefully I didn't miss you, but I probably did. Maybe not. Maybe not. For Scream 7, I just need to see what they decide to do with Stu. Answer that question once and for all. Well, he's the bad guy in Five Nights at Freddy's. That's what happened to Stu, right? Didn't they kind of resolve that in Five Nights at Freddy's? What's happening, Gavin? Hope you are doing well, my guy. One of our amazing channel members. Great to see ya. What's in a name? Another channel member says, I remember being in 11th grade when Teaching Mrs. Tingle came out, and I turned 43 this May, so it definitely has been a long time. Hey, I turned 43 in May as well. What's in a name? It's going to be May 18th for me. When's your birthday? Cruel ZV says, I'm so excited for Scream 7, but I hope they find a way to bring Stu back. Oh, a little opposite side of the spectrum on that one. I hope it ends on a cliffhanger. Hey, there we are. We're together on that. And Scream 8 ends up being the final Scream with returning killers from Scream 7 in the finale. Yeah, even if we get a Scream, or even if we get a Ghostface that gets unmasked in Scream 7, there still could be another, one of them gets away or something like that. We don't have the full Scooby-Doo, and they save a little something for the next chapter. I think that could be that could totally work. So yeah, I think that's the way to go, and I am totally cool with Scream 8 being the final if they do that, and then if they ever want to reboot it, they can just go ahead and reboot it. We get so protective of these things sometimes, and it's like, I've heard it said a lot, even with like the comic book movies. They're like, how many times are they going to like reboot Spider-Man? It's like, well, in the comics, like every time an artist or a writer takes over, they sort of have their opportunity to like reboot or start their own little offshoot. And so I think similarly to that, like with these horror movies that we love, every now and then it's okay to be like, hey, okay, that version is done and we're going to revamp it or reboot it, with different people at the helm and let them tell their version of the story. I would imagine with Halloween that's what they have to do. We've been told we're going to get a TV series and then another movie. So unless they go the anthology route, which I don't really see them doing because it would be a financial risk, it's more likely that the TV show would be an anthology series, which is what I would love to see. Cruel ZV. I would love to see a Halloween TV series that picks up on all the loose ends and dead ends that we got from the other movies. Like bring Danielle Harris back, do a sequel, like a season that's a sequel just to Halloween 4. Bring Josh Hartnett back, do a sequel that's a true sequel just to H2O, like a whole 8 episode mini series. That's what I would like to see for a TV show. And then it would be cool, if they bring Michael back. I don't want it to be tied to any of the other stuff. Jamie Lee can be a producer. That's totally fine. She can put some money into it. She can sort of like, have her say in the background. But I don't want that version of Laurie anymore. I'm done with all of that. I want to see something new. I want to see somebody like, what's his name? Jeffrey Wright. I'd love to see him play Loomis. I know Paul Giamatti is a huge horror movie fan. He was on the red carpet for, what was it, The Holdovers? Is that the movie he did last year or the year before? And he was on the red carpet and they were like, what kind of movie would you, or like what genre of movie would you like to be in that you haven't been in before? And he was like, oh, I love horror movies. And the guy was like, really? And he's like, yeah. He's like, the guy interviewing him was like, what kind of horror movies do you like? And Paul Giamatti's like, Texas Chainsaw Massacre. And the guy was totally taken aback. And Giamatti was like, yeah, it's a beautiful film. And I think even when he did, they do that like Criterion thing where they go into like the trailer with all the Criterion versions of the movies and the actors like pick their favorites. I don't know if Giamatti picked Texas Chainsaw because I don't even know if they have a version of that for Criterion, but he did grab some like, kind of not so well-known horror movies and he was singing the praises of horror there as well. So, Paul Giamatti as Loomis, like that would be awesome. Or we got that kind of news about Glenn Powell in Texas Chainsaw Massacre. What if you threw Giamatti in a Texas Chainsaw Massacre movie, since it sounds like it's something he wants to do? So why not take advantage? Let's see here. Avery says Scream 8 might already be in pre-production with 9 getting fast-tracked. Nev's contract reportedly covers 3 films, like Jamie Lee Curtis's for Blumhouse Halloween's. I did not know that, Avery. Can somebody else confirm that? Did Nev really sign up for 3 films? That would be pretty wild. Yeah, that would be crazy. But either way, if they ended on 8 or they ended on 9, it would be cool to put some sort of cap on the Scream series and then, let it rest for a while. The End's original ending was Michael's body being cremated, and apparently they shot it. Oh, okay. They shot the cremation. I thought for a second you were saying they like shot his body. Okay, so yeah, a little bit of the bring in the Halloween 2 Mr. Sandman ending there. Man, I thought he was gonna like wake up and drag Laurie into the grinder, or that she was just gonna like do like that they were gonna go like full like Greek tragedy or like Shakespearean tragedy, and she was just gonna jump in just so it's like the yin and the yang like both die together. Part of me wanted that for Ends, and who knows, maybe if they did that, the people that love it would love it even more, and the people that hate it would hate it even more. Who knows? Let's see what else we got. Cruel ZV says my favorite horror sequel is either Halloween Ends, Dream Warriors, Scream 6. Woo! That one is a hot take. Aliens, Terrifier 3, Friday Part 2, TCM 2. It keeps going on. Yeah, I love Halloween Ends. Dream Warriors is really fun. Scream 6 is my least favorite in the franchise, mostly because of the third act was pretty rough. I like Aliens. I prefer the original film, but I think Aliens is really fun. Terrifier 3, that's my favorite in that franchise. Friday Part 2 is great. TCM 2, I need to watch that one again, guys, because I've only seen it once. It really didn't work for me. I like the serious feel of Texas Chainsaw Massacre, not so much the jokey, but maybe I just need to give it another shot and not take myself so damn seriously. If you were Aussie, you'd turn 43 on May 18th. Good day, mate. What's happening, Adrian? Welcome on into the chat. Let's see here. And by the way, Adrian is one of our amazing channel members. Thank you so much for supporting the channel, bud. May 5th, all right. Cinco de Mayo for What's in a Name. Pretty cool. Same month and year. Yeah. Yeah, there you go. Not so bad. We're both Tauruses. I don't really believe in any of that kind of stuff, you know, astrology and all that, but sometimes it's just interesting to look and see who else is a Taurus, like Orson Welles, you know, stuff like that. That's a fun one. Let's see here. Michael's evil went into Lori, and Lori tries to strangle Allison. At the end of Halloween Ends, managed to control herself and tells her to leave. That would have been intense. I want to see that. Yes, give us all that. Come on, Blumhouse. What are you waiting for? The reason Scream 4 has a higher ranking on my list is because it's different from Scream 1 and 3. Yeah, Jill being the first Ghostface to make it past the third act, and I love that. Yeah. And some people give Jill shit because she's not doing most of the killing, but I don't know. There's nothing wrong with being like being the one pulling the strings, right? I mean, technically, well, at least the way that Scream 3 says it, you know, Roman pulled strings for the first Scream. So, yeah, I like Jill. I mean, I think Emma Roberts' performance is remarkable in Scream 4. So friggin' good. I mean, the intensity and the energy she brings to that role, and it feels so real. And, you know, just kudos to her. She's done so many horror movies. It seems to be a genre that she truly loves, because with her family background, she could have just done the most run-of-the-mill Hollywood movies. She could have just been in romantic comedies forever. She could have been, you know, just whatever. And it seems like she is choosing to be in this genre because it's something that she's passionate about. So I really love that about Emma Roberts as well. Yes, need to wet my whistle. Let's see here. Is CinemaCon going to drop a lot of movie trailers next week? I don't know. I guess we will wait and see. When are we going to get... We got the poster for I Know What You Did Last Summer, which is the legacy sequel to I Still Know What You Did Last Summer. Do we know if I Still Know is going to be part of the canon for all this? I would imagine it is. So we got the poster. When are we going to get the first teaser? I'm curious about that movie because I don't see I Know What You Did Last Summer really blowing my mind or anything like that. But again, it's a series that was popping off when I was in high school. So it's part of my, you know, kind of coming of age, if you will. So I'm curious just to see like what it looks like. I don't really expect much, but maybe it'll surprise us, or maybe it'll just be something that comes and goes and we never talk about it again. Avery says, imagine Halloween embracing multiverse and having characters from each storyline meet Michaels from each arc. That would be some wild, wild stuff. I mean, even if they don't have them cross over, I do still really like the idea of like, hey, here's one season follows up H4, one season follows up H6, and we get Paul Rudd back. God, that would be quite the coup to get Paul Rudd back. You know, season 3 follows H2O. Like all these different, And then you could even recast young Laurie, like a young version of Jamie Lee Curtis's Laurie, and do like the original Halloween 2 that they were going to put together, where Laurie was like in college, living in like a high-rise apartment in the city. I mean, there's just all sorts of, the choose your own adventure-ness of the Halloween franchise really lends itself to kind of like a what if anthological, is that a word? A what if anthology series, which I think would be really fun. I know it's a massive risk financially speaking, so probably not very likely, but something that I would be very interested in pursuing if I were one of the rights holders. Yeah, we don't need JLC to show Grief her tits anymore. Yeah, she's that's the one thing about Ends, is that Laurie does kind of act out of character when you consider the way her character was just a few years before. But maybe therapy really helped her. T Parker says favorite horror sequels are Scream 2, Halloween Ends, Smile 2, Evil Dead 2 / Evil Dead 2013. Yes. The Conjuring 2, Friday the 13th Part 2, and Terrifier 3. All right, so we've got some overlap there with our guy Cruel ZV as well. Yeah, Scream 2, talked about it at the top of the show there, T Parker. I really enjoy that one quite a bit for sure. And of course, I mean, Evil Dead 2013, holy shit. My second favorite in the franchise to the original. I hated how Jamie died in Curse, waste of a great character, and had so much potential to receive the podium next to Laurie. Yeah, and I think her death is, I don't know if it's worse or better in the producer's cut. She makes it a little bit longer. I might prefer her death in the theatrical cut. But I do like in the producer's cut when they show up to like, put her in the ambulance and everything, and there's like the idea that Michael's like burned in the thorn symbol on the hay, or that somebody did that, is pretty wild to me. Yeah, I think the getting rid of Jamie that way, there's a whole bunch of stuff the Dimension really fumbled the ball on with Curse of Michael Myers for sure. Would Alan Tudyk work for a recast in a horror movie? I don't know how old he is at this point, or I would say maybe something like Freddy Krueger, but I think he might be too old. I think with Freddy, we need somebody that's in their like mid to late 30s to take over Freddy. But I'm trying to think who else Alan Tudyk, because to me he also seems like a little comedic, a touch of comedy in there. So I'm trying to think who like what franchise he would fit in. I don't know. Let me know, Andy. Which franchise do you think he would fit in? Speaking of TCM, thoughts on Glenn Powell being announced for TCM? Well, it sounds like they just announced that he has interest in it. So I'm not against it. He's popping off like crazy, so it would be good optics for the franchise. And especially if he produces, it could be, I don't know his fandom. I don't know if he's like big into TCM or horror in general. But I certainly welcome anyone trying to bring that franchise back in a more meaningful way. Because I talk about anthology. I mean, it's pretty much most of these movies in the TCM franchise are just single servings, so it would be cool if they could do something where they're like, hey, we're coming back for 3 movies. We're going to do like, this is the plan we're laying out, and to have somebody like Glenn Powell be behind it, especially if he is producing, would lend itself to some stability there, which I think is something that we could use in a series like Texas Chainsaw, since we really haven't gotten it yet. Matt Arnett, what's happening, Matt? Hope you're doing well. Dropping in to say hello. Busy modding over on another channel. No worries, Matt. I really do appreciate you jumping in. Hopefully they're treating you well over there and you don't have to, crack too many skulls on that other channel. And then, man, I hope you have a great weekend, and hopefully we'll catch you next time. And if you want to jump back into the stream and see which horror sequels we're talking about, then by all means, feel free and let us know in the comments which horror movie sequels are your favorites. Yeah, I think he's a good choice too, Leanna. Absolutely. It's rumored from reliable sources that Scream 8 is already in development. That would not surprise me at all. Yeah, especially if you want to have that movie done within like a year and a half or something like that. Get back to that December release for Scream. So put one out next February, but then have one ready for what? I guess would it be 2028? Well, man, if they really want to fast track it, that would be gnarly to have two movies come out in the same year, but probably wouldn't be wise for them. But yeah, it would be a smart idea for them to just get the ball rolling, especially if they think they've got something. Scream 5 and 6 are underrated. I think you mean underrated masterpieces. Ooh, I think masterpiece might be a bit much there. But it's your opinion. You're totally free to think they're masterpieces. I've not seen anything from the Radio Silence guys to make me think that they're even capable of making a masterpiece, unfortunately. To me, their stuff, it's like a really good gymnast that puts together an awesome routine, and then when they go to land, they like kind of, waggle a little bit on the land. Even in Ready or Not, which I really enjoyed a lot of, I thought some of the humor didn't really work for me. I don't know what it is. Sometimes like certain creators just really speak to you, and other times they don't. I kind of feel like a jerk about it for not really getting it the way that a lot of other people do. I would say that Ready or Not's probably the best movie of theirs that I've seen. And then Abigail next, and then I guess Scream 5 and then Scream 6. I don't know if they've done any other movies. Maybe not. Let's see what we got here. Cruel ZV says, I love TCM2 mainly because of Bill Moseley's performance as Chop Top. It's very, very fun. Yes. Turned TCM from a serious, gritty, and dark gore film into a comedic relief. And I will say this about Texas Chainsaw 2. I mean, at least it's Tobe Hooper, like, making sure he's doing something different with his own sequel. I got nothing against the effort, and I've already said multiple times tonight, I do really like when sequels take chances. I think sometimes, like when I was watching TCM2, and again, I've only seen it once, it just seems so wildly different. I've got to watch it again. I guarantee you guys, I'm probably being a jerk about Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2, because I know some people are like, that's the best one in the franchise because of how much fun it is. I just remember it being really loud and really squealy, a lot of screaming. Not to say that the first movie doesn't really have that either. And it's really odd too, because I like things like Evil Dead 2 and Dead Alive and From Dusk Till Dawn, and like I like it when it's that sweet little mix, but maybe the fact that it's the sequel also kind of works as like a little bit of a reboot that just sort of threw me off when I first saw it. But got to give it to Tobe Hooper. I can't blame him for not wanting to make the same movie twice. So yeah, I need to check that one out again, for sure. Ashton is just over Texas Chainsaw. Just done. I kind of hear ya. It is. I don't think there's very much quality in Texas Chainsaw. Like, I think the first movie and the remake are the best ones, right? Am I way off on that one? I don't know. But Leanna says she can definitely see why you'd feel that way. She's open-minded and hopeful. Yeah, and I think, again, if they can say, hey, we're actually are going to tell a story, we are going to have an arc, and we've got a plan, like, these aren't just going to be like they're not going to feel like the direct to video releases, which I would say like half of the movies in the franchise just sort of feel that way. Like the Next Generation just feels direct to video, 3D direct to video, the Netflix one direct to video. I don't think I've seen the beginning or the second Leatherface movie, right? Because the third movie is called Leatherface as well. So yeah, I think that if they bring it back the right way, it could be fun. And T. Parker's never going to get tired of TCM. Loves how every TCM sequel is a direct sequel to the original. Pretty much, huh? Yeah, Ashton says they just keep either trying to start over or do a legacy sequel, and I can't think of one that's been good since the beginning. So maybe I should check out the beginning. Although, well, maybe I should just check it out, because I usually don't like prequels, but I'll give it I should give it a chance. It's so funny. I have this horror channel. There's so many horror movies I've never seen. I'm a fraud. I'm a total fraud, everybody. Who's excited for the Five Nights at Freddy's 2 teaser next week? You know, as somebody that had no idea what the video games were all about and had to research them before watching the first movie, I went into that first movie with like the eyes of a child. You know, just like if I were a 10 or 11-year-old, like what would I think of this movie? And to me it seemed pretty entertaining. Like a good sleepover kind of movie. So while I'm not like personally like chomping at the bit to see what happens in the sequel, you know, I'm interested enough to at least check it out and see, you know, how it looks compared to the original from a couple years ago. I vaguely remember what you did 25 years ago. That should be the title of I Know What You Did Last Summer. Let's see here. I think the first two movies are canon, but this new legacy sequel is almost a carbon copy of the original from 97, according to the synopsis. Yeah, that synopsis was really weak. They should have not put that out. It's basically like, hey, these kids kill a kid and then go and talk to the people that killed a kid. Okay. Is that really the plot of a movie, or is that like the pilot episode of a TV show? Like, what's going on? No idea. Leanna enjoyed Five Nights at Freddy's. There you go. FNAF does sound like an angry sneeze. Absolutely. Ryan Olashow in the chat. What's happening, Ryan? Hope you're doing well. Says, I love FNAF. Yeah, I had fun with it. I did. I watched that one. That's one of the first movies. That might have been the first press screening I went to with Cecil from the Horror Show channel, and we did a review over on his channel for that one. And you know, again, as somebody that had no, you know, real idea of the lore or anything like that, I was sitting there thinking, hey, if I were a kid, I'd be pumped on this movie, you know? So kind of reminded me of like when I was growing up, everyone was renting like the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movie for sleepovers and stuff like that. And it's like, this is the kind of movie I could see that kids would want to, you know, order pizza on a Friday night and, you know, get a little scared hanging out with each other. I think Glenn Powell likes horror. He was in Scream Queens. Oh, I've never seen. That's a TV show, right? Isn't that the show with Jamie Lee Curtis, and wasn't Emma Roberts in that as well? Maybe. Kyle Curtis Flett in the house. What's happening, Kyle Curtis? Hope you are doing well. Love that content over there at Flett's Movies and Pop Culture 13. Kyle's always going live, you know, doing watch parties, interviewing some pretty heavy hitters. He has a Dick Warlock interview. He's interviewed more than one Michael Myers over there. So if you guys like watch parties and you like interviews with some of our favorite alumni from our favorite franchises, then check out Flett's Movies and Pop Culture 13. Me being old, I don't think I would like FNAF. I never played the game. Yeah, I had to watch like, what was it, Game Theory, and then I watched like a video. It was like a 15-minute video that just gave the history of like all the games condensed before I went and saw the movie, but I had never played those games or anything like that. There it is. T. Parker says Ready or Not is the only radio silence masterpiece in my opinion. It was pretty fun. I'm interested to see how they're going to handle a sequel, especially with bringing, you know, what's her face back. What's her face? It's just the middle of the live stream. I'm like, I can't remember shit. Cruel ZV says I call Ends a masterpiece because of the soundtrack, the story, the characters, and I was depressed and going through a lot, and I could relate so much to Corey. I have strong emotions towards Ends. I do think that Ends is a masterpiece, Cruel ZV. I don't think that is too crazy to say. It stands out amongst that trilogy. It stands out in the entire franchise. It does have the best score out of quite possibly the entire franchise. I think T. Parker would agree with me on that one. I even like the pop songs, you know, just the soundtrack, the score, and the mixtape they basically put together. You know, like you get some punk rock tracks, you get some kind of synth wavy pop songs, and they all seem to be placed in the perfect spot. Of course, like the intro song, like the Midnight Monsters Hop or whatever that song is, like all of these songs work so well in Ends. I do really like the story as well. I think the actors, Rowan Campbell's so impressive as a performer. Andy Matichak puts in easily her best performance out of the entire trilogy. And the movie that just has something about it that really, like I said, helps it stand out amongst the whole franchise. Let's see here. Yeah, Ryan brings up Nightmare on Elm Street 3. Dream Warriors. Yeah, really fun. I dig A Nightmare on Elm Street 3. Bringing back Heather Langenkamp is pretty awesome in that. Having Nancy come back, having John Saxon come back. The Bill Maher knockoff is a good little character that tries to, he has probably the biggest arc out of everyone in that film. Some really inventive, fun, creative kills and dream sequences. I think A Nightmare on Elm Street 3 is really when the series found its footing and sort of laid the groundwork for, like it or not, laid the groundwork for the fact that these films moving forward would be extremely effects heavy, very reliant on the dream sequences and the kills. And, maybe Freddy gets a little too jokey in part 3. I don't think it's too much in that movie, but it definitely gets taken way further in the subsequent sequels for sure. So if you're blaming Dream Warriors for that, then I guess you might knock it a couple points, but I really enjoy watching Dream Warriors for sure. Let's see what else. You guys are amazing in the chat tonight. Let me check on the poll here. We've got 48 votes. Which movie should I watch for the first time after tonight's stream? 52% of you are saying Brain Scan from 1994. And even though Black Roses only has 4%, that's probably going to be the next one that I watch out of these 4 movies, because I know Bill from the Everscathed and Leanna recommend it. And guys, if you don't know this about Leanna, she's got impeccable taste. So you can definitely trust that taste for sure. And look at that, 49 votes, and it just went up to 6% for Black Roses. There we are. How about that? And then, yes, Leanna dropped Enter the Cinevaults link there. That's Dean's channel. Go ahead and check our guy Dean out as well. And there's the Flet link as well in the chat. So yeah, guys, check it out. Kyle Curtis is just 14 subscribers away from 700. If you're not subbed, let's see if we can get him to that mark tonight. We've got 27 people here in the chat. I would imagine that a lot of you guys are already subbed over at his channel, but I'm going to do a live count here. Let's movies and pop culture 13. Let's see here. Don't mind me as I type away. Tippity type it away. 13 away. He's just 13 away now, folks. Let's see if we can get him past that hump over on to 700 subs. Kyle Curtis and I were actually on a live stream together when he broke 500. It was really cool. So it would be even cooler if we can get him to 700 tonight. Let's see here. Ashton dropping in you really want a hot take, Davey? The only TCM movie I like is the remake. Not even a big fan of the OG. I appreciate it, but I'm not a fan. Yeah, I can totally get that, Ashton. There's something about the gritty griminess of the first movie that I happen to really like. It almost feels like a documentary, even though it's shot like a traditional film for the most part. It's just the quality and everything. It's got, it's kind of like, I'm a big punk rock fan, so it's kind of like hearing that very first record that a punk rock group puts out before they get signed. Like maybe they recorded it themselves on a 4-track or something, and it just sounds like it was recorded to like a literal cassette tape, and it's really dirty, but there's something like charming and wild and unbridled about it that I really enjoy. And I think that's the feeling I get from the original TCM. But yeah, I mean, the remake is far better looking, better looking performers, I think you can say. And yeah, I mean, easily just as brutal, maybe even more so. I think, the lack of blood in the original actually really works for me as far as the brutality goes and everything like that. But yeah, I really enjoy the TCM remake. I like it quite a bit. And if I remember correctly, I think even our guy Cody Leach, who was hanging out in here earlier on his drive back from Hot Atlanta, if I remember correctly, I think he prefers the remake to the original as well. So if that's true, then you're in some pretty damn good company there, Ashton. And yeah, could never blame you for having that opinion for sure. And then Medley Man, there are exactly 3 good Texas Chainsaw Massacre movies. 1, 2, and the remake. And the rest, besides the new one in 3D, are an insult to remakes. Yeah, I mean, the 3D one's got its fun. I'll never get tired of looking at Alexandra Daddario. Like, I'll take all that you got. She looks as good now as she ever has, and she has those icy blue eyes that are just mesmerizing. Doesn't even do those eyes justice. And yeah, the new one, fun enough. Barely a movie, but fun enough. Haven't seen it yet, T. Parker. I am avoiding it. Although Dean says that I can watch it and it's not going to ruin it for me. What do you think? Do you think I can watch? Guys, do you think I can watch the Bloodlines trailer? And if I watch it, do you guys want me to shoot a little reaction? I know everyone else has already done their reaction, but do you guys want my thoughts on this Final Destination 6 trailer? Or Bloodlines? I don't even know. Let me know in the chat. Let me have a little sip of water. I just am talking so much. Have a good night, Andy. All right. What else do we got here? Ryan, are you... So I see you talking about your subs. Are you do you make videos, Ryan? I didn't even know that. I think you said you were stuck at 14 subs. Are you creating content regularly? Let me know. Scream Queens, JLC, Emma Roberts, Glenn Powell, and Kiki Palmer. It's so funny. It's like Mean Girls meet Scream. That sounds great. Where can I watch that? Yes. Thank you, T. Parker. The lovely, lovely Samara Weaving. And she's a good actor, so even better. Can't view your channel. That's odd, and I can't find you when I search you up either. Huh. That's interesting. I had to... It didn't, like, bring it up automatically, Cruel ZV. I had to, like, actually push through on the search to bring up... I'm guessing you're talking about Flet. Paula says, I love Scream Queens. I have the first season on DVD, and it's on Hulu. Thank you so much, Paula. Really appreciate that. I should check that one out. And then we got Ryan's channel in the chat as well. Look at this amazing community we have. How many chats do you guys hang out in that have got, like, you know, what do we have? About 30 people in here right now. How many chats do you hang out in where the mods are just freely sharing other people's channels and doing all that stuff? Like, I don't see many. Maybe I'm just not on the right chats or whatever, but I think this is awesome that we have this community here that cultivates this sort of supportive kind of atmosphere for other creators. I'm sure you guys have heard me say this many times before, but I really only think I'm in competition with myself. So when I see that my numbers aren't where I want them to be or whatever, I'm like, dude, it's on you to create more content and to be more active. No one else is like taking anything away from you. The pie just keeps on getting bigger. There's room for everybody. So yeah, we really want to be supportive here of each other, lift each other up, and help everyone get that exposure. You know, I mean, I think the way I am, YouTube is my preferred streaming platform. I watch more YouTube than anything else, and I'm always looking for new stuff to watch. Dean Renner sharing a membership chat. Yeah, guys, if you've been a member for at least over a month, you can share a free member chat for every month that you are a member. And Dean says, per our Leprechaun convo, I think I recently heard that Lionsgate wants to bring it back. Damn. Who are they going to get to play the Leprechaun? A complete unknown? Not Bob Dylan, but an actual complete unknown? That would be interesting. You know what? Let's do it. Like, how could it be bad, right? Like, let's bring Leprechaun back and have some damn fun with this, okay? All right? Why the heck not? Come to Me from the motorbike scene and Ends got me into Johnny Gott's music, and now I've listened to all of his singles and albums. That's a great track. I could not think of the name or anything like that, but while watching the movie, and that style of music is not even like necessarily the kind of music I would listen to Cruel ZV, but there's something about the right track for the right moment in a movie where it just like really, really works. And Cruel also says I made friendships because of Corey. Been friends with them for 2 years. It's really cool the way that movies can bring us together, man. It's that's what art can do. I mean, really any sort of interest, but it's like a lot of the friends that I've had through my life, it's been like because of the music. Like we share a lot of musical tastes in common or movie tastes in common. So like Leanna in the chat, one of our great mods, like she and I have very similar musical tastes, and she's been able to show me stuff that I had no idea about that I really dig, that's sort of like outside my regular, listening or musical diet. And hopefully I've been able to do the same for her. And then there's like a guy like Dean, our amazing channel member and Enter the Cinevault content creator, who he and I relate so much over film. Our musical tastes are like wildly different, but we're still buds because of the love we have for this, for the medium of film. So it's really awesome how those interests can be that powerful. T. Parker says my top 5 favorite Halloween scores: Ends, Kills, 78, Season of the Witch, H18. Honorable mention for H6, the producer's cut. I'm glad you made that distinction because I think the theatrical cut of H6 is really weird. But I do very much appreciate the producer's cut score. It's so much more similar to the original film. So I really dig that. And that's a good ranking there, T. Parker. Devin Sawa as Freddy, maybe. I don't think he'd be too old to start, as long as they got him going very, very soon. Like, they'd have to, like, announce that within the next year for me to feel comfortable. Jeff is watching Terrifier 2 for the first time right now. All right, Jeff, we'll see you tomorrow, because that movie is so long that you won't be done with it until maybe April 1st. No, I'm just joking. Hope you dig it. It doesn't feel as long as it is, but it is very long, yes. The most hate-filled, hug-requiring group of people I've ever met are the people who don't like The Last of Us Part 2. I have not played any of those games. Chester is back. My top 5 Halloween scores: H2 from 81, 78, H4, Season of the Witch, and Curse of Michael Myers. Boom. Cruel ZV is 56 away from 800. I'm guessing that's for your channel, right? Jay Ashraf jumping into the chat. Welcome on in. Says, I thought the Jeepers Creepers sequel was good. What are your guys' thoughts on Jeepers Creepers 2? I think I've only seen those first 2 movies, and I've only seen them once each. I saw the original in the theater, and then I've seen the sequel, once on probably DVD when it came out way back when. What are your guys' thoughts on Jeepers Creepers 2? I know a lot of people dig the setting, the school bus setting and everything. Oh, that's what you're talking about, the 1,000 sequels. Can someone tell me what the relevant Amityville sequels are? That might be a Chris Snyder question. I don't know if he's in the chat, Medley Man. You might have to hit him up on a DM or something. Holy cow, we got Destiny Faulkner in the chat. What's happening, Dez? Hope you are doing well. Dez, are you going to be making a return to content creation? I hope I'm not being too forward by asking. I'm just asking because we miss you. Hope you're doing well. And it's always great to see you. Look at that smiling face in that icon. The premier horror goth girl of YouTube, ladies and gentlemen, Destiny Faulkner. Ready to get slashed in this live? Well, hopefully nobody gets slashed. All right, we're all friends here. Clearly, we're all friends here. Holy cow, a lot of love for Dez in the chat. Love seeing that. Again, you guys are amazing. We have just the horror community here on YouTube at large. We just have the best community for sure. I'm calling the Final Destination trailer 6. I'm calling the Final Destination 6 trailer as safe. All right. unless I hate money, I shouldn't watch it because trailer reactions get views. Okay. I just, I did a couple of them that really didn't. But oddly enough, I think some of my most viewed videos are, I think like the Crow, the Crow trailer reactions, one of my most viewed videos, and then maybe like Beetlejuice or something. But you never know when they don't give you like a copyright strike necessarily, but you never know when they're going to demonetize it because like Warner Brothers is like, hey, this is ours. So yeah, okay, guys, I'll do a Final Destination 6 or Bloodlines trailer reaction for you guys. If you guys like watching me do trailer reactions, then I will swallow my pride, not worry about things getting spoiled, and just do the damn reactions for you guys. The trailer didn't spoil anything. Even Lee from Drum Dums didn't regret watching it. Well, if it's got Lee's stamp of approval, then I think I can watch it safely. Hell yeah, Jeff. Yeah, you have an awesome community over there on the John Doe Juggalo channel as well. Yeah, Jeff's channel is really fun. I really like Jeff's voice. I don't mean that in a creepy way. Some people's voices just like put you at ease. Jeff's one of those guys. A little more laid back, so it's a little more calming. It's not like over here where I'm like, blah, 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 blah. I don't watch any movies, but I have all sorts of opinions. All that kind of fun stuff. Let's see. Where's Flet at on his quest to 700? 688, just 12 away, folks. I have the feeling that's going to happen here in about the next week or so. Yeah, we got an awesome group of mods here. Absolutely. Yeah, Frank and Darren are great. Good Real Hunting. I mean, there are plenty. I'm not trying to say that we're the only ones that do it, for sure. But I do love that that's a big part of what we do over here, for sure. Very, very proud of the community that we're building on this channel. And then, of course, just at large. Victor E. Merced. What's happening, Victor? Welcome on into the chat. We are talking about our favorite horror movie sequels. Let us know some of yours. Let us know some of yours. Curious to know. But we're still buds. There you go. It's like the line from High Fidelity, where Rob, John Cusack's character Rob, says, he says, it's not what you're like, but what you like that matters. Call me shallow, but it's the fucking truth. And I love that line because I think that even if you maybe have even if your personalities don't match with somebody, even if you're kind of like, oh, this person's sort of a jerk, or I'm sort of a jerk, if you like the same stuff, and that's not the case with us, Dean, you're a very, very sweet guy. But, even if you just like some of the same stuff with somebody, you can be that bond, that can really kind of hold you together. Planning on streaming The Last of Us soon, says Jeff. Heck yeah. Yeah, it seems like it's got like a Resident Evil 4 kind of vibe a little bit. That's what it kind of reminds me of when I've seen what I've seen from the game. Chester says Jeepers Creepers 2 is a good sequel, but 3 is terrible. And then isn't there another one that was really poor as well? I feel like there was. Ray Wise is always fun to see. Is Ray Wise, is that from Jeepers Creepers? I'm trying to keep up with everyone because I know I'm so far behind. Let me see. Ray Wise, actor from Dead End. I recognize this guy. Oh, Twin Peaks, Fire Walk with Me. Now that is why you're bringing him up, Des. I see you and Jamie. You always find a way to work in a little Twin Peaks action. I dig it. I like that. There are things that I obsess over too, and it's like I'm gonna find a way to talk about them. Rest assured. Yeah, I recognize Ray Wise from a whole bunch of stuff. Yeah. Jeepers Creepers 2 is Antonis's favorite in the franchise. Has its moments, but not very good. Ashton is a tough customer. Let it be known, folks, if you're putting out a Texas Chainsaw Massacre movie, look out. And, if you're a Jeepers Creepers 2 fan, Ashton's going to be hot on your tail. So, Ashton, what are some of your, so you say you're over Texas Chainsaw Massacre, so I'm curious. I mean, I'd imagine you probably like the big three. But like, what is like the horror franchise, even outside of slashers, whatever? What's the horror franchise that you just can't get enough of? That's what I want to know. Let's see here. Oh my gosh, Des, I totally hear you. Big life change coming out of like a massively long-term relationship, and it just completely threw my life off the rails, and something that I didn't see coming, and it got way messier than I ever thought that it would if that were to happen anyways. So yeah, you'll notice my background's like way different and everything because I'm in a new spot. And yeah, the motivation has been really, really tough to find. Like, not even just to do this, guys. It's been really tough to find for a lot of things. So I'm working through it. And, you know, fortunately, I've got a really supportive family, very, very sweet, you know, a small group of friends that I've been leaning on through all of this. And of course, you guys. So I guess that's really, you know, all I can say from the experience that I've been having, Des, is even though it seems really tough, like hopping on here and hanging out with all of you guys is something that like really kind of gives me that strength. And at least for while I'm on the stream, it helps me forget. And it feels really good to be like, oh, I'm hanging out with 30 people talking about horror movies on a live stream. Like, man, things could be a lot worse for sure. So yeah, you know, we miss you. Well, at least I do. That's why I'm bringing it up. So I'd love to see you back on sometime whenever you're ready, of course. And hey, when you are ready, let's bring you on over here and have a chat about something. Maybe I could finally watch Twin Peaks and bring yourself, Jamie, on, and we can all talk about Twin Peaks or whatever the hell you want to talk about. It does get tough. It is a lot of work too, you know, finding time for the schedules, and especially if you do pre-recorded stuff, that takes a while. Avery says the problem with reaction videos, as fun as they can be, is there's few channels who, without permission, take your footage and include it in theirs. Yeah, well, I guess I'm not so worried about that because we're pretty small potatoes over here, Avery. But for me, it's just sort of like, oh man, if I do a video and then I edit it and I'm spending like, you know, 3 hours putting together this like a reaction video, which is really not that long. That's about, you know, 2 or 3 hours to shoot and edit a reaction video. But still, you're spending that time on it. And sometimes you see that it just really doesn't get the views, or that they demonetize it. And you're like, oh shit, you know, but whatever. Enough complaining about the background stuff. I should just shut up and do it because you guys want it. And you guys are the reason why I'm here. Let's see here. John Doe Juggalo's channel shared there by Leanna. Thank you so much, Leanna. Really appreciate you. Fight the Good Fight says, I like to watch trailer reaction shorts and out of the movie theater shorts. Yeah, I like doing those out of the movie shorts. Those are really fun. I need to really, if I were super serious about like growing the channel, I really should get super serious about TikTok, even though it's so overwhelming and I'm such an old man, like shouting at the cloud when it comes to TikTok, but I just need to stop thinking that way. And yeah, I need to go see more movies, or even if I watch, like after watching Brain Scan, I should just shoot a little short and give like a minute-long quick review of a movie that's 31 years old and I'm just watching for the first time, you know? Final Destination Bloodlines trailer is the second most watched horror trailer debut with over 178 million views in 24 hours. That's wild. It could make 200 million at the box office. And I'm guessing that movie maybe has a budget of like 30 million, maybe 40. I don't know. That's right, Paula. Love to all the mods. Absolutely. Avery appreciates adding the links as well. Boom. Des, I have not seen Yellow Jackets. My sister, when I was staying with my sister at the beginning of all this tumultuous bullshit, her and her husband were watching it, but it was like they were already a few episodes in. So it was like, oh, what show is this? And they told me, and that's about all I know. I don't know much about Yellow Jackets. Should I watch it? Is that what you want to hop on the channel and talk about? Whatever. No rush, no pressure. But yeah, guys, let me know in the chat. Is Yellow Jackets something that I should be watching? Ooh, I'm not going to be checking out the Minecraft movie. No, I don't play the game, and yeah, I guess I don't have much interest. Jason Momoa and Jack Black, yeah, not really into it. Oh my God, guys, I'm so happy that Des brought this one up. Because we had our guy Damien Maffei on Late Night with the Davey a handful of months back. Such a sweet guy. Really easy guy to talk to. Just very, I don't know if you guys have ever like interacted with him on social media, or if you play the Texas Chainsaw game, or even if you share something from Pray at Night and tag him in it, like on Insta. He is very engaging and like will repost your stuff, and very friendly and awesome guy. And Strangers Pray at Night is a fantastic sequel. Man, that movie is about as intense as it gets, pretty much from start to finish. I mean, at least once it ratchets up, excuse me, it doesn't really stop until the friggin' end. I mean, even the end is some pretty serious shit. Yeah. Strangers Pray at Night. That's a really damn good sequel. Yeah, I've only watched that one. I've really only seen it, I think once. So that's one that I would like to own for sure. I'd like to have a copy of that one. Absolutely. Yes, Reborn. They had to do some sort of resurrection, revolution, rebirth, reborn. I'm going to inadvertently insult everybody, Dean. Don't you worry about it. Everything comes back to Twin Peaks. It's true. It's true. If you're passionate about it, it makes me feel so terrible for not having watched it. So I need to get on that shit. Need to get on that. There you go. Ashton likes Strangers Pray at Night. So we know something that Ashton likes a lot. Oh, sweet innocent Davy. The Last of Us is nothing like fun, campy RE4. It's more mentally draining. Think of Silent Hill. I guess I just thought with like the flower head kind of looking creatures, like there's a lot of that in RE4. But yeah, RE4 is very fun. I will say that. One of the best video games of all time. There you go. But more importantly, he's in Twin Peaks. There you go. I love you, Ashton. That's the best possible answer, by the way. Ashton just dropped the best possible answer for a horror franchise that he can't get enough of. I'm right there with you, man. And talk about like a series that, I mean, after the first 3 movies, it looks like we're headed towards anthology, or where they're connected, but each one is its own, solid story, that's just, singular kind of story. I really dig that one. No, yeah. Leanna, you don't think the Evil Dead franchise has 0 bad entries. Yeah. I mean, even like Rise is my least favorite, but I would say like a B+. It's like, it's not bad. I wouldn't even say that anything about it is bad. I wanted it to push things more, certainly, because it's Evil Dead, and I just always want Evil Dead to keep on, pushing the boundaries. But yeah, not a bad entry in that franchise. And the TV show's great too. And you guys know how much I usually hate at least modern TV shows. No, it's been a while, Prince. I appreciate it, but yeah, it's been something that's been, yeah. I appreciate that though. Thank you so much. Piece of advice for all, says Dean. It's always better to move forward in life than dwell on the past. Time definitely heals all. Yeah. It can be. This is what I found, guys, and I know I keep on jumping like back and forth because I'm so far behind on the chat. What I found is that even when I like have that anxiety or whatever, I'm like, dude, just do it. Like, just go out and meet with your friends tonight. Like, one of my friends, Ashley, who lives on the other side of the city, she has an 11-year-old daughter or a 12-year-old daughter that's like interested in playing guitar. And I was like, you know what? Let me bring some strings over. Let me restring her guitar, show her a couple things, just a couple like exercises, so she can just get used to like, using the fretboard and like finger dexterity. And then let me show her some resources online that she could use to, to kind of lessen up herself if she wanted to. And it was one of those things where like the day of, I was just like, oh my gosh, can I do this? Can I do this? And I'm like, dude, you just got to go and do it. Like, you're going to do something really sweet for your friend and her daughter. And, by the time you're out and you're, out there like living life, you're going to be happy that you did. And I feel the same way about jumping on here with you guys. All right. We certainly do, Ashton. Yes, we do. We love Evil Dead and Dez. I look forward to hanging out with all of you guys every single time. Holy cow, guys. We have 34 people in the chat. I think this is the biggest group we've had all night, and we're about 2.5 hours in. You guys are amazing. I thought it would like dwindle, and we're growing as the night goes. Holy crap. Really appreciate it, Eli. We love you too, man. I don't think I'm the coolest dude on the tube, but I appreciate you saying it. You make me feel so sweet. Robert the Wolfman. Ow, ow. What's happening, Robert? Oh my gosh. I need to hang out with Robert and Cecil. I worked out in the sun last weekend, guys. Oh my goodness. On Sunday, it was like 90 something out here already. And it felt pretty humid, at least for this time of year. And I just felt like complete ass after standing out in the sun. So this weekend, I'm going to insist on standing inside. And if Robert the Wolfman and Cecil the Horror Show Man are doing anything on Sunday, then I'm dropping in and I'm blowing up that hangout. Not literally, figuratively. Yes. The man, the beard, the legend. Yes, I did defend Land of the Dead. Guys, Sledgehammer Horror, check me out on their channel in defense of Land of the Dead. Brain Scan is killer, and it is going to be the movie I watch tonight because out of 55 votes, it has 47%. It is crushing the competition, folks. In fact, I'm just going to go ahead and end that right now so I don't forget, because I always feel like a total dink when I forget. And what? I feel like I don't know. What do you guys want to do? Do you guys want to keep on hanging out? I've been on here for about 2.5 hours. So I can chill with you guys. I feel like we've talked some pretty good sequel talk here. I don't know if there's anything else that you guys want to talk about, but I'll hang for as long as you guys are willing to hang. Outside life and YouTube can be hard to separate, says Dez. I too remember dropping a different background during a random stream and I had to go on like I was fine. It's definitely hard. Yeah, and I try to be really open about everything, and obviously not like, sorry, didn't mean to blow up the mic there. Not spill every little single detail and just do this whole like woe is me kind of thing, but I try to be open with you guys just so, I don't know. I feel we've got such a tight-knit community here that it's like, there's certain things that I will keep close to the vest, but I also want to be, reasonably transparent with you guys too, especially when things are obviously changing, I am on a roll tonight, and I got the sweat to prove it, Leanna. I got the sweat and the stupid hair to prove it. Look at this ridiculousness. Watch Yellow Jackets right this second. That's how I read that. I try, like, I can kind of picture it, Des. I would be so down to talk about it. Okay, how many seasons are they on right now? And it's on Paramount Plus. Okay, I've got that. I can check it. I can check it out. Still a season. What, they must be in like the 3rd season now? Something like that. Strangers Pray at Night is better than the original, possibly, as one of the best sequences ever. F Chapter 1. Yeah, I think it is easily the best film in the franchise, for sure. Still need to watch Twin Peaks. Told Des and Jamie I would, just haven't gotten around to it. Ashton, you and I should watch that together. I'm pretty sure I've said that before. Reacher or Jack Ryan? My brother is really into the Reacher show, for sure. I've never seen the Jack Ryan show. I don't know anything about it, other than it's got John Krasinski, who I'm not the biggest fan of looking at. Boom, there it is. Well, you know, we help each other out, T. Parker. We're there for each other, for sure. Can't believe I forgot to include Strangers Pray at Night as one of my favorite horror sequels. And in my opinion, better than the original. Yeah, I think that is, like, by and large, the opinion of the community here. Yeah, one of Dez's favorite movies. Happy to see how much love it gets. It is so damn good. Oh my god. There are a couple moments there early on where I'm like, oh shit, they just did that. Like they ratcheted it up right away. They did not, no slow burn in Strangers Pray at Night. Let's see what else we got. Usually on sale for $5, so I might get lucky. All right. Jeepers Creepers Regurgitated. That would actually kind of work with the whole like bug kind of monster they've got, you know? It was on Max. I think that's where I watched it originally. I would like to get a physical copy for sure. All right, Avery and Ashton and we're going to jump on and watch some Twin Peaks. Oh, well, Chester, they got to go robo on the strikes and balls, right? I mean, what are we doing here? The home plate ump can still make a whole bunch of other decisions. Just let the balls and the strikes at least be robots. Sounds like I need to watch Yellow Jacket, says Leanna. I love Juliette Lewis. Yeah, she looks hardcore. I saw her. That's like one of the little clips I saw when I was just walking through my sister's living room. I was just like, holy crap, like she's hardcore in this one. Des made her friends start Twin Peaks tonight. We got to episode 3. So isn't that so much fun when you have like, there's like a show or a movie that you love so much and it's like watching it with somebody for their first time is like this super exciting experience. It's like you're getting to relive it through their eyes, but you know more than they know, and you can look over and like see how they're reacting, see if they're into it. Like, I think that's one of my favorite parts about like sharing music and sharing movies is just sort of popping that figurative cherry for somebody. Let's see here. Go on. Yeah, I'm gonna go on the Twin Peaks grind. Yes, and then apparently, it's all I'm gonna talk about. Maybe that's why I haven't watched Twin Peaks yet. Is because once I do, it's gonna become my entire life and my entire personality. I'm gonna start dressing like the characters, and I'm just gonna become like a stereotypical cliche David Lynch character in a movie and or TV show. There you go. Everyone needs to watch. We've been given the assignment by Des. We need to watch Twin Peaks, and we will check in again in a couple months. You could do Twin Peaks like a book club, right? Like, all right, everyone, watch episodes this through that, and then we'll catch up next week. And then probably everybody would just watch the entire thing that first week because it must be so damn good that you would just rush through the whole entire thing. Yeah, it is the franchise with good sequels, Evil Dead. I mean, it's the most solid franchise in all of horror, right? I think it's tougher sometimes in the slasher movies to be as consistent. But Evil Dead, man, same producers that have been there since the very beginning. I think that's the difference maker. Sam, Rob, and Bruce always calling the shots with Evil Dead. I think that's the format that if you want a successful, consistent series, whether it's comic book characters or based on a novel or whatever, is just have the same group of producers that are always in control of those rights. Banger after banger on the Yellow Jacket soundtrack. All right, sounds like a show I've got to watch, and it's on Paramount Plus. So let's get it. Starting Supernatural. I've had a lot of people tell me I need to watch that show too, Eli. Aren't there like 500 episodes or something like that? Yeah. Yes, getting into Twin Peaks is an opportunity for transformation. Maybe it's the perfect time in my life to just get a completely new persona, right? Start a separate channel, you know. Davey Death Lynch. I don't know. I could turn my haircut into the Lynchian haircut, just let the front grow and just keep on building it like a giant wall. There you go. Cruel ZV says The Strangers is so loved and different from horror franchises is because its killers dressed up differently, unlike Scream, and also takes a different approach to the realistic style. Yeah, it definitely has that sort of feel like this could actually happen. And is it loosely based on something that really did happen? I think at least that whole line of like, why are you doing this? And the character saying, you know, because you were home or whatever. I think at least that is taken from some real life experience. But yeah, you know, when we were talking on Hit the Bricks Live earlier this week, when we were talking about Strangers Chapter 2, everyone started bringing up Vacancy. And man, talk about a realistic approach. Like Vacancy has this really creepy, real feel to it that's so unsettling. I did not expect Vacancy to be as good as it was. I watched it with a whole bunch of my friends. I even though I'm the one that's usually like the movie nerd or whatever, somebody else suggested it. There was probably like 20 of us crammed into this house and we're watching it, and that movie is freaky as all get out. Like, yeah, Vacancy, super creepy. Des recently finished all of the X-Files last month, 11 seasons and 2 movies. I've seen like a handful of those episodes. I haven't seen a bad one for sure. And Gillian Anderson. Hello. Is that her name? Yeah. Yeah? Am I right? Am I wrong? Hopefully not. Yeah, I need to go back and watch the original again. It's been a while. It's been a while. Let's see. Where are we at here? Sunday Fun Day. I know. I got to get down there. Last Sunday was a really, really rough one. I felt like such a piece of crap for bailing on that, Robert, but I felt like such a piece of crap. So I was like, I can't do it. If I stand outside again, I'm going to have to bring like a whole change of clothes and be like, hey, Cecil, can I use your shower? Just, holy cow, a foot of rain. I don't believe it. Really? 12 inches of rain yesterday, Eli? That's crazy. That is crazy. Crazy talk. All right. What else do we got going on? Denise wants me to keep on going. Dean wants an all-nighter. You know, like, I don't know if you guys are sports fans, but there's that guy, Tom Grossi. He does something called Packcast. He's a big Green Bay Packers fan, but he covers like the whole NFL. He does a whole bunch of charity work. He's amazingly philanthropic. Like the guy is one of the best YouTubers out there. Like him and Brandon Perna from That's Good Sports are amazing. Like I'm a huge sports fan. I know that we don't really talk about that much here, but Tom's done like never, like he'll do a stream that's like, hey, until we reach these subs or until we raise this much money for charity, he keeps the live stream going. And then even when he sleeps, like the light is off or whatever, but you can see him like sleeping on a sleeping bag, like on the ground or whatever, with the camera still on. So he does these like never ending, you know, marathon streams to raise money for charity. I think in the last couple of years, he's raised over $1 million for charity, just like through his YouTube. It's incredible. And he gives a lot to St. Jude's is one of the big ones that he donates to. And he did like this tour a couple years ago where he visited all of the NFL stadiums and every day went to a different stadium for 30 days and did an event and raised, I think, over $500,000 for St. Jude's. It was friggin' crazy. Random double feature, any 2 movies at all. Okay. The Naked Gun and Hot Shots. The Naked Gun and Hot Shots. When are you coming out, Des? We got to get together. yeah, I would. I'd love to meet up with you guys when you're out here. Any time. I would imagine you're probably coming out for what is Mad Monster going to be here this summer? Is that when it's going to be? Maybe. Boom. Oh my gosh, you guys, Strange Darling has hit Paramount Plus. If you guys have not seen Strange Darling, or maybe you've only seen it once, it is a totally different movie the second time around. Oh my gosh, that movie is absolutely amazing. Easily one of the best movies of 2024. Especially if you're like a Tarantino fan. I think you're going to like the way they tell the story there. And if you're a fan of like, you know, kind of like a smaller consolidated story, not many performers, but every single actor in Strange Darling brings it. It's fucking incredible. Yeah. Oh my God. It's on season 3, Yellow Jackets. Is this going to be the last season? The only thing with shows is like, I like it when they're finite, Des. So it's like, when I know it's not just going to keep on going and going forever. That's what I prefer for sure. I don't know what it is. I don't like his face, Prince. I don't like his face. I haven't seen chapter 1 either. I'm probably not gonna. Yeah, don't waste your time. I'm probably not gonna do that for sure. Let's see here. Yeah, soundtrack for Pray at Night. That's another good one. Yep. Too many other things to do than to watch Strangers Chapter 1. Favorite NFL touchdown? I'll go for the John Riggins touchdown in the 82 season, 83 Super Bowl against the Dolphins. I believe it was 4th and 6 from like the 36 or 4th and 3 from the 36 or something like that. Amazing. Just, look up John Riggins Super Bowl touchdown. It's amazing. There's probably some better ones, but I really like that one because I am a Redskins fan. There we go. Redskins fan. Are you saying Pan or Pam? Is it like a soft N? Strangers Pray at Night? Erica, what's happening? You are coming in on the 2 hours and 42-minute mark. We're still talking horror sequels, but now we veered into Twin Peaks Yellow Jackets talk. That's what happens when a Twin Peaks fan shows up in the chat, right? Everything gets recalibrated. Hope you're having a great night as well. Hanging out with everybody in the chat is always makes for a great night for me. And even though life has been crazy for the last like 5 or 6 months, and this week has been kind of a gnarly week, this has been a really good reset hanging out with everyone. And hope you're doing well also. Let's see here. Ooh, what's going on here? What did I miss? Literally, I was side-eyeing her the whole time. Who are you talking about, Des? I'm missing out on it. Modern shows are kind of weird. Frankly, I'm surprised they didn't cast Madonna as Pamela Voorhees. I remember everyone flipped when Rihanna was cast as Marion Crane. Yeah, but Madonna, I guess like at some point Charlize Theron was in talks. I think when Brian Fuller was still there. Linda Cardellini should be good. I'll reserve, like, last fall I was like, this show is just going to keep on having false starts and we're never going to get anything from Crystal Lake. But now that it's official that Linda Cardellini is on board, I'm thinking that, by June 13th this summer, on Friday the 13th, on Jason's birthday, we should get a trailer. If we don't get a trailer, then we're really in trouble. Like really, really in trouble. So, let's see here. What else do we have going on? I might have to call it pretty soon here, guys. I am getting my voice is getting a little tired, admittedly. Yeah, vacancy's good shit. What's happening, Ray? How you doing? Welcome to the chat. You are kicking it with the Death Squad. We are approaching a third hour of streams here, and you may be new to the Davey Death Ray chat. These crazy people are trying to talk me into going all night. Yes, it does effing rip. Yeah, doesn't it seem like Vacancy has a little bit of that Hitchcockian or like Twilight Zone-ish kind of feel? I can totally see a TV show taking that similar kind of vibe, because you don't have to necessarily be graphic, at least like gore-wise, with something like Vacancy. But yeah, I mean, I don't want to say anything for the folks that haven't seen the movie. If you guys haven't seen Vacancy, I recommend checking it out. It's got a really, really creepy premise. Really good shit. Erica says, I want to start Supernatural, but I'm intimidated by how many seasons they are. Same. I'm right here with you, Erica. I have a lot of friends that are like, oh, you like Buffy the Vampire Slayer? Like, you like this, you like that? You would love Supernatural. But I'm not really sold on what Jared Padalecki's okay as an actor. What's the other guy's name that was in My Bloody Valentine in the remake? Of course, I can't think of his name because I've been streaming for 3 hours. But that guy, maybe I can't think of his name right now, too, because he doesn't impress me very much as a performer. But if it really is like Buffy, then maybe it is worth watching. Yeah. Let's see here. I hope that's about me that I am correct, and I am correct. Oh, Mad Monster this summer? Yes. I'm glad I didn't miss anything last week, Robert. I just feel bad because I know it's been so long since I've hung out with you guys, and I do miss you, and life has been really tough lately, so I know that you guys would definitely brighten everything up for me, for sure. Oh, Gillian Anderson. That's what I'm correct about. Okay. All right. I'm so far behind on the chat. I jumped all the way to the front. What's happening, Brendan Sanford? Welcome back to the chat. I feel like it's been a while. That's why I'm saying welcome back. Yeah. Pumped to have you. This is crazy. 31 people. Usually I top off at like 25-ish. So it's really cool that here we are approaching the third hour, and we've got a strong group in here. You tend to talk, yeah. You gotta, hijack the stream talking about Twin Peaks. Why the heck not? Oh, your friend Hannah, to make sure she's paying attention, but also to see her reactions. Yes, it is so much fun. It is the best. I'm pumped that Washington traded for Debo. I think Debo's amazing. Another weapon for Jaden. Shore up that defense. They, for the most part, played pretty well at the end of the season. Obviously, the Eagles had their way with us, but we had a bunch of turnovers in that NFC Championship game as well. So I'm feeling pretty good about Washington going into season 2 of the Jaden Daniels era. Let's see here. The amount of topic changes in this stream is legit. Ends, Twin Peaks, Strangers, Vacancy, X-Files, Supernatural, Jeepers Creepers 2. And what else have we talked about? The Evil Dead franchise, Texas Chainsaw Massacre, Scream. We're talking all sorts of crazy shit. Jensen Ackles, that guy cannot act his way out of a paper bag. I will just say that. Buffy, for the most part, is pretty good, Erica. Not every episode's great. Sarah Michelle Gellar is awesome. The guy that plays Giles is really cool. I like most of the episodes are pretty fun. It has to me, I think the ending is pretty satisfying, which is nice. So yeah, Buffy can be fun. He was funny in The Boys, but I don't like him in My Bloody. Yeah, he just sort of has this like, I'm a brooding, handsome man, and that's all I've got to offer. Like, again, like I said earlier in the stream, I don't care how good looking you are if you can't act. That's why, whatever. And I know I'm picking on a guy right now, so let me pick on a lady. Jessica Alba. What the hell was that era all about? Like, she no skills as far as as acting goes. Like, get the hell out of here. Like, just go be a model if you can't act. Like, ugh. And Des, earlier too, I was talking, Scout Taylor Compton. Like, she just seems to get more and more beautiful with age, but she's got chops. Like, her performances as Laurie in Rob Zombie's movies, even if you don't like his Halloween movies, her performances are friggin' amazing. Like, but Jensen Ackles, ugh. Yeah, I'm It's like C minus. The original is so much better. I know that maybe that's even becoming a hot take because I think a lot of people are pretty nice about the My Bloody Valentine 09 remake. And some people were really mean about Heart Eyes. And I'm like, man, you'd be mean about Heart Eyes and nice about My Bloody Valentine 09? I don't know. Because it just is like a WB show. Let's just be honest. Yeah. I haven't seen it either, Ashton. There's way too many shows, you know. But now that my life is totally different than it was before, maybe I can carve out some more time for TV shows. Oh, I have the feeling you'll dig that one, Des. Erica, thank you so much. Yeah, don't forget to hit that like button. If you're watching this after the fact, holy cow, you made it 2 hours and 51 minutes into a replay. That's amazing. Let me know in the comments below some of your favorite horror movie sequels or what you think about Twin Peaks. And if you're not subscribed, please hit that subscribe button. Share the channel with somebody who you think would enjoy this kind of content. And be sweet to each other out there, all right? Unless somebody's like you're driving and somebody's like kind of being slow or being like a dick on the road, like say some mean things like in your head about them. Or if no one's in the car, say them out loud. That's cool too. But like when you're actually face to face with people, be nice, okay? That's when it really counts. In private, go ahead, be terrible. I wouldn't even know. Let's see here. What else do we got? It's getting to the point of delirium here. I appreciate that, Jeff. Thank you so much. Oz should have eaten Xander. That would have been wild. Yeah. Yeah, with Oz, they don't really... he just, like, leaves, I think. Oh, sorry. Shouldn't talk spoilers. But speaking of Buffy, Nathan Fillion just had a birthday. He and Xander have a fun little moment there, Robert the Wolfman. The outfits are great. Yeah, some fun music, some bad music. Yeah, David Boreanaz's another guy that's like a great TV actor but can't do shit on film, you know. Michelle Trachtenberg, she was good. Yeah. Oh, man, the actress I always talk about, Glory. The actress that plays the villain, Glory, best hair on that whole TV show. Oh my God. She's so devilishly sexy. Glory. Love her. Let's see here. Cruel ZV. Have a great rest of your night. Hope you have an awesome weekend, and we'll see you next time. And yeah, you have a great night and a knife day as well. I guess I should probably sort of wrap things up here, right? You know? The only show that Brendan Sanford watches religiously is The Boys. It's hard for me to get hooked on a TV show and series. Yeah, me too. Me too. Yeah, just if you're gonna be a dick, just do it on your own time. You know, you don't need to bring anybody else into that shit sphere. You can just sort of save that for you, and yeah, and be sweet when you're hanging out. Yeah, Hard Eyes is what it is, and it knows what it is. Now, I think a sequel could be better because I think that a sequel would probably find a way to do a better killer reveal. But I enjoyed it for what it was, for sure. We don't have that many Valentine's Day horror movies, so I'm not going to be that big of a jerk about it, for sure. Xander is such a bitch and completely useless. Yeah. I hear you. Like the energy of his character, like in the first couple seasons, is really fun. But yeah, he starts grating on the nerves. And yeah, Glory. Oh my gosh. Was the movie interesting? I still haven't got a chance to watch it yet. Which one are we talking about? Heart Eyes? Or are you talking about the Buffy movie? The Boys, did they do a movie? I don't know. We've talked about a million topics. Heart Eyes. Interesting. I mean, here's what I'll say about Hard Eyes, Brendan. There's only like a few slasher Valentine's Day themed movies. I think it's the best one that isn't the original My Bloody Valentine. It's got some fun moments in there, some like nervous, like Hallmark movie kind of cheesy moments as well. But I do like the look of the killer. I like the opening quite a bit. And yeah, I think it's totally worth watching. Like, don't go out and buy it. Don't rent it for $20. You know, if you can rent it for like $6 or something, or wait until it's streaming on one of the platforms you have, I think it's definitely worth the time to watch for sure. I'm right there with you too, Erica. They only glowed in that one little half a scene where they used the night vision. I would say in the sequel, they should make the eyes glow the entire time for sure. Yeah, Blumhouse did announce that remake of My Bloody Valentine. You know, they haven't, but they might not start putting out news about it until like the summer or the fall if it's not going to come out until February. I think, you know, here's the thing. If they remake My Bloody Valentine, go back to the 80s. Make it as a period piece. Don't try to update it. Whereas, like, I do want to see a remake of The Prowler, and I do want them to update a movie like The Prowler. I'd love to see it where it's like a Afghanistan or Iraqi vet instead of World War II. I think that would be pretty interesting. I'm a big fan of The Prowler, but admittedly it has some like pretty slow moments throughout. But I do really like the premise. I like the look of the slasher. You know, Joseph Zito as a director, I appreciate what he did there. And of course the Savini effects are great. Not that you're going to get Tom Savini to come back or anything, but I do think The Prowler is one of those movies that could stand to get a remake and could benefit from it. And then it would benefit the original to have some more people talking about it and checking it out for sure. I watched My Bloody Valentine with Erica and it was ass. So wait, Ray, you and Erica? A different Erica? You guys know each other? Yeah. I really dig The Prowler quite a bit. Yeah. The effects, man. That's what makes that work for sure. Yeah, hardly used the coolest part of the mask. Yeah. Major disappointment. Yeah. The whole look was cool to the character. Yeah. There it is. All right. You guys are homies. Your best. So are you besties and you live in the same area and get to watch movies together? Or do you do it like you hop on like a Zoom call or something? Or you guys like watch a movie at the same time and like text about it? Because I do all of those things. So I'm curious to know. Like when I watched Strange Darling for the first time, it was Dean, who's in the chat there, and Leanna, who is one of our mods here on the channel, where we just watched it all at the same time. And we were like in a little group chat talking about it. It was really fun. I've never really that's all new to me. But it was a pretty good time. There you go. She's in Canada and I screen share movies to Discord server. That's awesome. Oh my gosh. You guys are just too cute, aren't you? I love it. I'm glad it's a thing that like people can, still share that experience with people that are, so far away. There you go. Hey, we're talking, and now not only do we get to share those experiences with our significant others and our friends, but now we get to share the fact that we share those experiences. So it's two levels of sharing. Oh, well, you guys can kick it sometime. I guess it depends on where in Canada that Ray is at. If Ray is on the eastern part of Canada, it is a plane ride. But I grew up in Southeast Alaska, so everything that I did when I was growing up, oh man, to go see a concert, I had to fly to Seattle just to see like a band play. It was a wild time growing up in the 90s. We did have a goddamn blast with Strange Darling, man. Watching it with headphones on, holy cow, the sound design, oh my goodness, unbelievable. Yeah. When am I going to make a Discord server? I don't even know anything about how to do that. I don't even know. Can somebody, guys, my social media links are in the description below. Erica, it sounds like you know how to set something like that up. And I feel like we've already messaged before anyway. So hit me up on Insta. and let me know how to do that. We need a movie horror Discord. And then Dean says he will fight the Discord. So I don't know what that... You're going to fight against it? Fight for it? I would fight for you, Dean, but I wouldn't fight you. You know what I mean? Yeah. Yeah. Strange Darling. Ashton, you got to check it out. Really, really good. Yeah, I'll get it set. I'll just send that right over to you, Medley Man. Yes, you'll get those as well. I'll send the whole thing, copy of my birth certificate, all that stuff. Hell yeah. I got Discord, but no idea how to make a server. Oh, it's the most difficult thing I've ever tried to use. Well, it sounds like Erica is pretty tech savvy, so maybe she can walk me through it. Holy cow, we just hit hour 3. Guys, it is past 10 o'clock out here. I've been talking for 3 hours straight. My voice is so damn tired. Yes, boobies backwards. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I have the same combination for my luggage. All right, confusing at first, but fun. Just like me. Yeah, guys, I think I'll wrap it up there. Unless there's something that unless there's a topic that you guys want to tackle that we haven't talked about yet tonight. I don't know. Let me know. My throat is so dry. Discord is great, easy to do. Barely an inconvenience. I'm in like 50 servers. Guys, this is a whole new world with new fantastic points of view. That's what this feels like to me. Now I'm just going to be doing the white bat audio thing. It's like being blind and trying to talk to somebody in sign language. Ooh. Destiny. If you could bring only bring one album? Only one? Oh, fuck. That's a tough one. I'm probably going to give an answer that no one's going to know. Let me just think through my collection really quick in my head. One album. A desert island pick. That is so tough. I'm thinking. Okay, I'm going to pick... the band is Paint It Black, and the album is New Lexicon. They're a hardcore band from Philly. I think I would pick that record. Because it would keep up the energy. I don't want something that's too low energy. If I get a second pick, I'd probably do the live album by the band called Rock of Ages. I have it on double LP, and the band is arguably the best band I've ever heard in my life. So if I have something that's not going to be punk rock or hardcore, that would be my desert island. Now we never have to end the stream. Pick at least 10. Yeah, like a top 5 desert island picks. That would be fun. It would be fun to like set up one day out near my record collection and like go through my collection with you guys. I've got like 350 records, and my taste isn't like crazy eclectic, but like it is, I've got a whole bunch of different kind of stuff in there for sure. Yeah. I also like Odyssey and Oracle by the Zombies from 1968 is one of my favorite records of all time. My taste in music it's all over. It really is. Like Pinkerton by Weezer is one of my favorites. Through Being Cool by Saves the Day. That's another favorite. Jersey's Best Dancers by Lifetime. Lifetime by Lifetime. All the Lifetime records. That's my favorite band of all time. Commit This to Memory by Motion City Soundtrack. That's another one that's a favorite of mine. Expert in a Dying Field by the Beths. I really like that one. Yeah, I'm all over. Movie soundtrack, not score-wise, songs. Ooh, okay. That's a fun one. The Angus soundtrack is really good. Really like that Angus soundtrack. I love the Jerky Boys soundtrack as well. Those are two that are like standouts for me. Mallrats has a really good soundtrack. Let's see. There's probably something else. You know, like I would imagine something like Dazed and Confused. Like that's got a pretty rockin' soundtrack as well. Yeah. Have fun, Medley Man. Take care. Yeah, New Lexicon by Paint It Black is the name of the band, Jeff. Every Twilight movie has a great soundtrack? I wouldn't know. I would show records. I'd have to move my whole setup. So we'll have to... Ray, here's what we can do. If you haven't subscribed yet, hit that button. And then one of these days I can bring my setup out there to where my records are at in the family room. And yeah, I can walk you guys through it all. Favorite movie from every year. Every year. So starting in 1900, you know, that would be, yeah, that's a tough one. I would get so many wrong if I tried to go off the top of my head. Yeah, we'll be here till Sunday. Us mods want to sleep. No, I get it. I've seen the first Twilight, but only with the Mystery Science Theater guys right there doing the riff tracks thing. So like they watch the movie and make fun of it, but only with the first movie. So, well, hey, thank you so much. Maybe I will, but if it's new metal, I don't know. Ooh, SLC Punk or Airheads? I'd probably go SLC Punk, but Airheads is a very good soundtrack as well. Yes. SLC Punk's great. Yes, you would be here. It would be fun. I know certain bands do that. Certain content creators do those streams where they're like, you know, best movies of the decade, and they go through. And we could do something like that. Use your phone and record B-roll of your collection. Send yourself the video, download it to your computer, and screen share it over StreamYard. Boom! There you go, Dean. We can do that. Going through my record collection. Foo Fighters or Nirvana? Me and my mom debate this all the time. I say Foo Fighters. I like the first few Foo Fighters records. The self-titled, The Color and the Shape, and what's the third record called? I really love that record. I just can't think of it right now. There Is Nothing Left to Lose. I really like those first three records, but Nevermind and In Utero. I love those Nirvana records. I would say Foo Fighters is a better band for the radio, and Nirvana's more interesting. The music is more interesting to me, for sure. Yeah. More interesting and more unbridled, more dangerous. So I would say Nirvana for that. But if you're looking, you know, Brendan, if you're looking for something that's just a little more like even keeled or easier to listen to, I would say Foo Fighters. Yeah, Nirvana's great. Man, it's like when they do those reunion, like I've seen some of those reunion shows and they have other people singing and everything. I get it. You have to have, somebody has to sing for Kurt. Like, you know, you don't want to just do like AI or whatever. But there's just something about like the way he performed and the way he sang that was like not polished, but it was like so perfectly him, and it just fit those songs so well. He's got to be one of the most difficult singers to like, I know they're not trying to replace him, but one of the most difficult jobs would be to perform with that band and put out a performance that sounds, you know, even remotely as interesting as Kurt's voice, you know. Yeah, I think, yeah, pretty similar. Yeah, I mean, it's wild. Like when it going from Joy Division to New Order, you'd think that they would pretty much sound the same, but it is like it changes the dynamic so much to lose that front man, and it doesn't sound as dangerous. Although I think New Order is still a really fun band, they do sound so much safer and more polished. than Joy Division did. And I kind of like the rougher edges for sure. I think you know that, Leanna. Evanescence or Skid Row? I only know a couple Evanescence songs because that's not really my kind of thing. But also Skid Row, out of all of those bands from that era, Skid Row is not one that I like as much as like Poison or, you know, something like that. I don't know. Like, what is my favorite like hair metal band? I don't know. Poison's got some fun songs. CC DeVille always had that like kind of Ramones sort of sound. Like the song, you could tell when he would write a song or write a riff because it sounded a little more punk rock than the other stuff. So I guess I would say Skid Row. So Evanescence, I just don't really know too well. I'm not going to fight you over loving New Order. I think New Order is good. Yeah, for sure. Nothing against him at all. Yeah, Talk Dirty to Me is great. That's a good song. Yes. No, I know what you mean, Leanna. You used capital letters, so I know what you mean. Pearl Jam, I would say. The early Soundgarden stuff I like Bad Motorfinger, when they're way more like rocking and rolling. I dug them a lot. But like the first couple, maybe like the first 3 Pearl Jam records I like quite a bit. The later Soundgarden stuff I really didn't like. Chris Cornell, rest in peace, of course. I wish no ill will or anything. I was never really that big of a fan of his voice. He always sounded like he was like struggling to have a shit. So when he was in like, what was that band called that he was in with the Rage Against the Machine guys? I did not like that at all. I really talk about a band sounding like totally not being able to capture their sound with another singer. Like switching Zach De La Rocha with Chris Cornell immediately snipped the balls right off of that band, figuratively speaking. Yeah, I remember their hits. I was just never into like that pop new metal stuff. Like Linkin Park is totally lost on me. Like I think Linkin Park is like so boring, like flat and boring. But you know, I just wasn't into that kind of music really, for sure. Yeah, CC was great when he wasn't trashed. Yeah. It's like Dave Mustaine, like my favorite, like probably my favorite guitarist of all time, and Megadeth is one of my favorite bands. But man, when he was in Metallica, he was an absolute mess when he was in that band. They were right to kick him out, and I'm happy they did, because Megadeth is a way better band than Metallica, and we never would have gotten Megadeth without Dave getting kicked out. Oh, Living Colour's friggin' Motorhead or Living Colour, that's so unfair. Living Colour only had like a couple records, Prince. Motorhead has an entirely impressive career. I love both of those bands, but I have to pick Motorhead because they're so influential and had a decade-spanning career. And I think Living Colour, they're like got back together and they're playing and everything. But that record that what's the name of the record? Totally forgetting right now. Again, plus 3 hour plus stream. You know, the record with Cult of Personality and Open Letter to a Landlord and all that. Amazing. Such a great record, but I think Motorhead's gotta take it, you know. It was a house of horrors, then it was a house of horrors. That's such a great quote from CC. Audio Slave. Yeah. Didn't like it. Daughtry or Hoobastank? Oh my gosh. That's like the opposite of the choices you just gave me, Prince. I guess Hoobastank, because they kind of sounded like early Incubus a little bit. Yeah, that's an amazing quote. Louis Tango, what's happening, Louis? Yes, we got into some Final Destination Bloodlines talk. Yeah, part 4. I don't like that one either. And the chat tonight convinced me to do a trailer reaction to the new trailer because I've not yet watched it. So I'll record that. I might even just shoot that when we're done here tonight, guys, and put it up in the morning. Oh, I've seen those guys live and they were really good. I've just recently kind of gotten into them. They're pretty impressive for sure. Cranberries for me. I'm not very familiar with Kill Switch. I mean, I know who they are. I don't know their catalog very well. It's tough to compare two starkly different bands for sure. Motorhead did songs for Triple H. Yeah. I feel like Motorhead was a big influence on bands like Megadeth. You know? Uber Steak. Yeah, Final Destination 4 is total ass. It is, yeah. AFI or Bullet for My Valentine. I'm not familiar with Bullet for My Valentine at all, so I guess I'd say AFI. I'm a bigger fan of the early AFI though, Prince, like the Very Proud of Ya days, more when they were like hardcore / skate punk and less of the Sing the Sorrow, you know, goth wave that they got caught on. Yeah, never cared for Papa Roach. Yeah. They might have. Yeah. They might have for sure. I'm not sure. It sounds like something they would do, Chester. Absolutely. I can't get over this Uber skank. That's great. All right, guys. Holy crap. I can hardly talk now. Seosin all friggin' day because Anthony Green's voice is amazing. Is that was him, right? Seosin was Anthony Green? Yeah. Right? Jeff, what's happening? Welcome on into the chat. We are wrapping things up at 3 hours, 17 minutes almost here. But thank you so much for jumping in, man. It's been an epic conversation about our favorite horror sequels. So let me know in, the comments once the stream ends, or even here in the chat what your favorite horror movies are, horror movie sequels. And thank you so much for jumping in, man. My ex really likes Arctic Monkeys. I can dig some of their stuff for sure. Yeah, the guy's voice. I mean, the singer. What, Alex, is that his name? He's got a really really sexy voice. Let me just say that. You know, unfortunately, you're coming in at the tail end, but you can always scrub it on back, Jeff. And is this your first time in the chat? If it is, welcome. And if you're not yet subscribed, go ahead and hit that button, and then you'll make sure, and if you hit the notification, you'll get an alert the next time when I go live before the stream hits, and you'll be able to jump in and hang out with us. We always have a fun time chatting in here. I think at some point we had like 35 people just chit-chatting about their favorite horror movie sequels, and it's a really great group we have here. Alex Turner, there you go. Yeah, his voice is really, really good. My nephew is in a band called Lovely Colors from the Seattle area, and it's colors with a U in there. I don't know why they use the English spelling, but they do. And my nephew Devin, who sings, and I think he's the lead songwriter because he's the singer. He sounds a lot like, at least to me, he sounds like Alex Turner. Like they go for a little bit of that sound for sure. Hell yeah, Jeff. Awesome to hear. Love it. And Chester just subscribed. That's amazing, Chester. You've been hanging out in here for a while. I'm happy that you just subscribed. Chester, you and I are always kicking it on Dave's streams, TSL, all that fun stuff. So thank you so much for the sub, man. Really appreciate you. Have a great night, Jeff. Yeah, guys, I'm going to wrap it up here. We're about 3 hours and 20 minutes. Leanna has to get to bed. The mods need to sleep. But Dez wants to talk about Twin Peaks all night. So find her on social media and just bug her about Twin Peaks all night. No, Des, I will get on the Twin Peaks. I will get on the Yellow Jackets. And then, once you make your way out to this part of the desert, because you might be living in another part of the desert, I would imagine, we will have to all get together and kick it. It will be a great, great time. Yeah. You guys have a great night as well. Let's see here. Check out Sledgehammer Horror. I did an In Defense of Land of the Dead, one of my favorite George Romero zombie movies. I love that film, so go on over to Sledgehammer Horror to check that one out. I'm going to be putting together something for the members to do a stream probably Sunday night, so keep an eye out for that. And other than that, I will be back next week. So yeah, guys, really appreciate you kicking it with me. Thank you so much to all the Patreon members, the channel members. Of course, you guys keep the lights on and keep me oh so happy. Really appreciate everyone that's subscribed. This week has been a rough one, so jumping on with you guys, this has been a breath of fresh air and has really lifted my spirits. So thank you so much. I love you guys. I will be back next week. So until next time, I've been and will continue being Davey Deathray. Take care.